But I've never told you exactly how they do that. Well, there are several ways, so consider this as part one in a series. Most of the softeners out there use a finicky, hard-to-adjust computer to guesstimate when to cycle, and it errs on the side of cycling too often, which means it'll burn through way too much salt way too soon. Kinetico is different. It has an all-mechanical system that measures the water precisely. No computer, no guesstimating, so it cycles only when needed. The result, Kinetico delivers perfectly soft water 24/7 using minimal salt. So why not save your lower back from carrying the 3 bags of salt when all you need is 1? Call Northern Utah's authorized Kinetico dealer, Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake. Call them now, 801-576-8600, or log on to softwaterutah.com and tell them Doug sent you.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Mother's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with the grad's picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for moms and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
Emergency traffic on KSL News Radio, brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account with built-in benefits. Heather Kelly?
Well, northbound I-15 is a bit of a parking lot from 2100 north up to the point of the mountain. This was all due to an earlier crash at 123rd South in Draper. Now, that crash is still blocking the right lane of the exit ramp to 123rd South, but speeds are much better as you come off the point of the mountain into the Salt Lake Valley. You do have slowdown southbound I-15 now from 53rd South and Murray down into the Sandy area. Haven't heard if we have a crash in that area, but something's holding you up. Jason.
And still dealing with this accident eastbound on the 201 as you approach 900 West. It is off to the left shoulder, but you got sporadic delays stretched back to about Bangerter Highway at this point. If you're southbound I-15 to Weber at Davis counties, no such problems there. Maybe just a titch less than 70 miles an hour in Rose Park. Otherwise, everything else up north also looking good. Legacy 89 West Side Belt. Say goodbye to expensive granite and say hello to luxurious style for about a third of the price with laminate countertops from Countertop Factory LLC.com. See for yourself at CountertopFactoryLLC.com. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
Well, today's the last warm day, high of 73, right now 61 degrees in Salt Lake City. Dave and Dujanovic next.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth, KSL's top story this hour. We're looking into an incident at the Northrop Grumman facility in Box Elder County. The county sheriff's office has confirmed that a building is on fire and considered a total loss, but no injuries have been reported at this time. We'll be following this story and provide more details throughout the morning. KSL's top national story this hour. The Supreme Court is reordering the Trump administration to facilitate the release of a wrongfully deported Maryland man.
What if there are arguments over privilege with regard to what they have to testify to and don't, and it goes back to the Supreme Court and eventually comes back to the judge, and the judge finally says, you've got to go ahead and do something with El Salvador. And they say, okay, El Salvador, wink, wink, we'd like you to bring him back. And they say, we're good, we're not going to do anything. And then the administration says, well, we've tried. That becomes an interesting question because now They can say, we've asked, they've said no. What do you want us to do?
ABC News Chief Legal Analyst Dan Abrams reporting. 3 refugee families living in Mill Creek are worried and confused after receiving letters telling them they have until the end of the week to leave the country. KSL TV reports 2 of the families are from Venezuela and the other from Haiti.
I was in shock because I wasn't expected something like that to happen because I came here legally.
Their neighbors are trying to support the families and say they're frustrated this is happening. The Refugee Justice League is working to help the families get an attorney to try and fight the deportation. Your money at this moment, the Dow's down 116 points to 40,252. Coming up, we've got emergency traffic trying to get out of Utah County and into the Salt Lake Valley. Traffic and weather together is next. KSL News Time, 9:02.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
This is Jeff Stout with Fink and McGregor, Mortgages Made Simple. News of recent layoffs reminded me of a quote from Bob Hope. A bank is a place that will lend you money if you can prove you don't need it. A periodic check of finances can prevent big problems later on. How much debt do you have? What are the payments? Do you have a rainy day fund? What would happen if you lost your job or had other unforeseen financial issues? Mortgage interest rates have been coming down, and there may be a window of opportunity to look at your situation in terms of a possible refinance and restructuring of debt. If you'd like to go over your situation, give us a call or take advantage of our quick application at 4minutemortgage.com. It might help. There's one way to find out. Give us a call. Fink and McGregor, Mortgages Made Simple, 801-264-9494. That's 264-9494. Or on the web at finkmcgregor.com, NMLS 289115.
Do you want to make your house more comfortable, more energy efficient, more valuable? Well, maybe it's time you took a look at your doors and windows. And there's nobody around who does doors and windows better than Peach Doors and Windows.
Improve the functionality of your home with custom replacement windows, entry doors, patio doors. Maybe you have a sunroom or you want a new custom front door and windows to maximize the beauty of your home. Peach offers flexible financing available to fit any budget. They've got expert installation, including fiberglass doors, which are their specialty. And they'll replace your windows with the highest energy efficiency rating.
And customer service is a top priority. It's the reason why they have so many 5-star reviews on Google. You can check it out for yourself. You can also check them out online at peachbuildingproducts.com. You can call for a free in-home estimate, 801-566-1255.
Or see them in person, 2940 South, 300 West in Salt Lake City. They're open 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. Go check out their beautiful showroom. It's Peach Doors and Windows.
Spring fever is heating up and Motorsportsland's Markdown Madness event is just beginning. Don't miss your chance to save big on your dream RV. Now through April 26th, score unbeatable deals on Utah's best RV selection. New travel trailers from $5 a day, fifth wheels from $14, and motorhomes starting at just $35 a day. With no hidden fees, just upfront pricing and a low-pressure buying environment. And mark your calendar for RV University, April 26th. Free seminars led by top manufacturers and our expert team. Seating is limited, so reserve your spot now at motorsportsland.com. For over 55 years, families have trusted Motorsportsland for honest pricing, flexible financing, expert service, and the best parts inventory in Utah. Markdown Madness ends April 26th, so come into a Motorsportsland RV Center today and let us help you get away.
Let Motorsportsland help you get away.
Motorsportsland.com.
Emergency traffic brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account with built-in benefits. Here's Heather Kelly.
We've had multiple crashes northbound I-15 right around 2100 north in Lehigh. Now, UHP just stopped all lanes of traffic for about 4 minutes to move one of the crashes from the left side of the freeway off the roadway. heading up toward Timpanogos Highway. There's still another one behind that one, right at the top of the on-ramp from 2100 North over on the left shoulder. So you still have traffic at a crawl through much of Utah County coming out of American Fork up toward the point of the mountain. You still have the crash blocking the right lane of the exit ramp to 123rd South and Draper. That is still causing slowing through the Bluffdale Draper area. And a crash on the 201 freeway eastbound just got cleared, but UHP stopped all lanes of traffic to move that vehicle from the left side of the roadway off the road as well. Suffering from ringing in your ears? Don't miss a free event on April 17th to learn about a new FDA-approved tinnitus treatment. Visit whydomyearsring.com to learn more. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Yeah, so weather, it's the last day of warm before we get some storming tomorrow. It's going to be a high of 73. Right now it's 61 degrees and partly cloudy in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio. Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
We begin this morning, Dave, with a story of a BYU PhD student who just found out that his student visa was revoked. Very little notice. U.S. government saying it's in regards to criminal history, but his attorney says he doesn't have one. The encounters that he says he had happen to be a couple of speeding tickets and a catch and release fishing citation that got dismissed 6 years ago.
Catch and release fishing citation. So something that my Boy Scouts would get if they're up there fishing without a license. That's what we're talking about. Now, Americans wanted a crackdown on immigration. Trump campaigned on this. He said, we're going to find the worst of the worst, and we're going to deport them. We're going to get them out. At what point did we land on the catch and release fishing citation guy? Like, that's insane. That is not what we were being sold. We were not told that we're going to be cracking down on the student visas, the PhD candidates that were, caught for a couple of speeding tickets and then fishing and releasing without a license. Like that's wild.
He's a father of 5. He's married. It seems like he's at the tail end of, his classes. He's so close to graduation, and now he's faced with having to pack up and leave, or else. He spoke at length yesterday to our very own KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
We are planning to go back to Japan during the summer, so every plan is ruined. Like, my kids start worrying about it, and still we have no clue what to do. I feel like helpless, like nobody know answer and nobody know what to do, what's going to happen.
Doesn't know what to do. Doesn't know what the future looks like.
Adam, are you there?
Yeah, guys, I'm here.
Hi. Tell us about Mr. Onda. I think I said his name right. Where he's from, how he found out he was getting his visa revoked, and what now for him?
Yeah, so this happened within the last few days. So just a little bit of background. So Suguru Onda, he's a PhD student at BYU, like you mentioned. He is about a year from graduation. He is at the point he is working on his dissertation. He is very close to being done. He's been living here legally for years on a student visa. He's married, has 5 kids. 2 of them were actually born here in the U.S. And suddenly within the last few days, he gets a notice from BYU's International Student Services. They found out without notice that his I-20, his former student visa that he can stay here legally, was revoked without notice. I was actually given a copy of that letter from his attorney, and that letter basically says, termination reason, and I quote, otherwise failing to maintain status, and it goes on the next place to say individual identified in criminal records check, and just some more legal jargon after that. But you go over his criminal history, like I've had many conversations with him and his attorney, his only quote-unquote criminal history is he went on a fishing trip with family in 2019. This is 6 years ago. He kept too many fish. It was a simple catch and release citation that was dismissed with prejudice in court, meaning it was dismissed. He was not fined. The citation's gone. It's off his record. Like, there is nothing more. The court has let go of it. He can never be retried for that citation again, and I don't think the court would go through that anyways. And 2 speeding tickets. Yet he was pulled up in this criminal records check that it seems like what the federal government is doing, and was given 15 days to go back to Japan. Your visa has been revoked, and if you don't, you could face deportation proceedings.
Adam, we have seen this happen across the country where students on a student visa have had their visas revoked, but the Trump administration has said these students have typically been involved in some sort of protest, perhaps an anti-Semitic protest on campuses. Has Mr. Onda ever been involved in any of these protests? Has he been an activist while he has been here?
No, not to my knowledge at all. I mean, I just got to talk to Segura the first time yesterday, but he seems like a guy that really keeps to himself. I mean, obviously that's a question I can ask too, because I've been hearing rumors of that, as I've been doing work on this story for a little bit. But I mean, Segura, he's working in, he told me it was either computer science or computer engineering, and he's spending most of his time either caring for his family or doing research. Another thing that I wasn't even really able to get into in my story when I first covered this yesterday was that with his student visa revoked, his work options are limited, and he's also trying to provide for a family of, there's 7 people in his family, and when you don't have a legal status, you can't legally work in a lot of realms. So now he's living off of stipends from the research he's doing at BYU, and also simultaneously having to pack up their entire family as if they're going to have to leave to Japan in less than 2 weeks, not knowing if his attorneys are going to win the battle in court of getting him permission to stay in the U.S. until they can get his visa reinstated.
KSL News Radio's Adam Small is live on the line with us. He's been speaking with a BYU PhD student who just had a student visa revoked without notice, being told to basically leave the country, and now he's trying to figure out what to do. He's father of 5, married. I listened to the entire, I think it was a 20-minute interview discussion that you had with him yesterday. And he sounds extremely humbled, but also came across as not really knowing what the future holds and the near future holds for him, Adam.
Exactly. Right now, it is a moment of complete uncertainty. Like I said, you're married, you have 5 kids, you're a year from graduating with your PhD at BYU, and suddenly you are told you have to leave the country within 2 weeks. And like I said, he gave me a very good visual about my kids, they play sports, they have activities, they have friends, they go to school here. They don't know if they're going to be able to finish the school year out if we all have to go back to Japan. And it's putting them in a situation where they're trying to live their lives, not be more worried than they already are every day, but also having to pack in case they do have to leave. Basically just their short-term future hinges on if his attorney can win the battle in court.
Adam Small, thank you for your reporting from KSL News Radio. Thanks.
Well, at this point, what we know is that he had a catch-and-release fishing citation that got dismissed in 2019 and a couple of speeding tickets, Dave.
Yeah, this is nothing. I've got a far worse criminal history. I have more speeding tickets. This is silly. There's got to be more to this story, and I think this is part of the frustration when we see these stories unfold. The men in El Salvador, the Maryland man in El Salvador, there's claims that he is a gang member or a leader in MS-13. Well, great. Then explain and show us the proof. Give us the receipts. Let us understand, because if there's more to this story, then you have to tell it to us, because what we're hearing right now, this is insane. This is wild. This should never be the case, that if you have a couple speeding tickets, that's who we're trying to target and and kick out of the country?
Let's bring on Adam Craig, immigration attorney, was joined us just a few days ago when we were seeing that the University of Utah was and other schools were experiencing kind of similar situations with students there. But this is specifically, we're talking right now about the student at BYU. Good morning once again, Adam.
Good morning.
Are you representing the student at BYU, the PhD student that Adam's been talking to, our other Adam Small?
Yeah, we are.
So walk us through, is it this catch and release ticket that might have gotten him ensnared or in the sights of ICE? Is that what you know at this point?
Well, actually, we actually have some more details.
Okay.
So there's been numerous filings across the United States challenging these revocations. It's turned out that Department of Homeland Security has used a tech bot to simply go out and search, and anything that comes back with any type of criminally related conduct or any type of criminal, it issued a revocation. It was never subject to human review or human eyes. So, and that's now been admitted in court filings. So you're literally now having action being taken by a computer and never being reviewed by somebody that actually knows and understands the complexities of what is a student visa.
That is fascinating. You're saying that we've learned through court filings that there was an automatic revocation.
Yeah.
So if you basically had any sort of encounter with the law, whether it's a speeding ticket or a fishing citation, it was like an automatic revocation?
That's what I'm telling you.
So where do you take it from here?
So because of that action being so arbitrary and capricious, it allows us to file a TRO in federal court, a temporary restraining order, to seek to challenge the validity of the revocation. Because obviously in this type of context, not being done by any sort of person with any sort of immigration knowledge, but simply using technology, you can't get any more arbitrary. You can't get any more capricious than that. I mean, that's a clear violation of everything that relates to due process.
As we have been watching this unfold throughout the state, I was asking Adam Small this question. I'll ask it to you as well. But oftentimes when these visas have been revoked, the government, the administration is pointing to, hey, they were actively protesting on campuses. They were breaking the law. Does Mr. Onda, does he have any history of being an activist or participating in protests?
Well, and that's what I asked him. I said, listen, tell me about your social media. And he's like, I have a Facebook page and I post family pictures. He's the most non-political, non-adversarial, non-opinionated guy that I have as a client. He has literally nothing. And I mean, that fishing trip was a group of ward members, and he took responsibility because he had put the activity together.
And now this is coming back
and this is
to
where
bite
we're
him,
at.
so to speak.
Yeah.
It is not just him, as you well know. You've talked to us about other students who are facing maybe not the exact same actions, based on visas and other, but fears of deportation. Do you expect that this will continue and that others will be receiving notices like this?
Well, and I wholeheartedly expect that, which is so crazy. And we reached out. We tried to settle this. We tried to point out all of these things to the U.S. Attorney's Office, and they're not rejecting us because they don't want to. They don't believe us. They've just simply been told, look, we're not allowed to settle anything. We can't. So yeah, this is going to continue.
So you've worked with the U.S. Attorney's Office here in the state of Utah?
Yeah, we reached out. We said, look, can we simply recognize that this was a mistake, and let's reinstate his visa. Let's reinstate this. Let's recognize that an error was made. And we received correspondence back that said, no, sorry, we're not allowed to have any pre-litigation settlement.
Is this considered a clerical error, having these mass revocations of student visas over very, very small violations of the law?
Well, no, because they're defending them. They're not allowing us to say this was a clerical error. This has to be something that was just a mistake. We are literally having to go into federal court, charge our clients money, which adds insult to injury, and get the government to admit that this was a mistake or that this was something that never was subjected to human review.
Adam Craig is an immigration attorney. He's live on the line with us, and I'm just trying to process all of what we just learned here as you're telling us about the journey, the recent journey of the PhD student who's attending BYU. He's here from Japan on a student visa, and is in fear of having to return to Japan, and I guess giving up. Maybe he can continue to school online overseas, but in the meantime, he's got a family, 5 kids, a wife here, and they don't know what the future holds for them because he got this revocation notice for his student visa, and I'm just thinking about all of the people that this is happening to, and I'm sure each one of their cases is individual. However, I saw last night or earlier this week that Republican Senator Chuck Grassley was facing intense criticism from some of his constituents in Iowa over the deportation of the Maryland father to El Salvador, to that prison. I want to just play a little bit of this. It was quite confrontational inside this town hall that Republican Senator Chuck Grassley was at last night.
Bring that guy back from El Salvador. Yeah. Why not?
Well, because that's not a power of Congress.
The Supreme Court said to bring him back.
Judges are. If the president isn't upholding the Constitution, he's defying the Constitution. You're on the Judiciary Committee.
So we're seeing, I think, a lot of Americans right now scratching their head trying to figure out what happened, because obviously when Trump was elected, immigration was top of the list. Americans wanted a crackdown, and we have seen some incredible reductions at the border. Instead of 100,000 people crossing the border per month, it's down to, I think it's 10,000, 11,000. So we've seen incredible progress there. But I don't think any American is looking at what is happening here. The crackdown on some folks that have speeding tickets or some sort of fishing citation as being reasonable in any way.
No, heavens no. It's not reasonable. And I think what you need to identify with this gentleman from Maryland, he went through the whole deportation process, and he was granted what is known as withholding of removal, which means it was found by the judge. And bear in mind, this was a full-blown trial where the government had every opportunity to present any and all evidence related to his affiliation with MS-13. Okay, they were given ample opportunity to present all of that, and they did not produce anything to verify gang affiliation. And I mean nothing, because judges typically in immigration settings, if you can establish gang membership, you lose. You're going to get deported. They don't allow gang members to stay unless it's extreme circumstances. In this context, that was not presented. This gentleman did not have gang affiliation according to the government at that time. But now they're coming back and saying that he does, which is really disingenuous.
And yet he's still inside that prison in El Salvador and still the subject of many news stories across the nation, and also ongoing court case.
Yes.
And in the meantime, you're working on cases here in Utah, and we appreciate you taking the time out of your workload to join us to bring us up to speed on what's going on with this BYU student, this PhD student, for different reasons, facing a revocation of a student visa. And given, just days to get out of the country? Or do you think you'll
Correct.
get a temporary restraining order on that?
Well, I think most of the judges across the nation in these types of contexts have been granting at least a stay of removal, meaning they don't have to leave. And then they're granting the ability to present the evidence as to why the visa was inappropriately revoked.
Adam Craig, Thank you so much for joining us, an immigration attorney. And has been representing this BYU student, Suguru Onda, and this has been a fascinating conversation, revelation of how this happened. It sounds like the Department of Homeland Security had a bot. He's describing the tech bot came through. There was no human review, no human eyes hit this, but it just started revoking visas with people that had basically any sort of legal encounter, from speeding tickets to fishing citations.
And behind the scenes, we've asked our producer to please reach out to the United States Attorney's Office here and, of course, invite them on the show as well, so we can hopefully hear from them on what's developing on their end of this.
And just a final thought, Debbie, as I'm listening to this story unfold, there's no question that immigration was absolutely top of the ticket when Donald Trump was elected. But the ends does not justify the means. We cannot just look at the bottom line. Oh, look how much progress has been made. If this is the way we're going about it, it was supposed to be criminals. It was supposed to be the worst of the worst. Donald Trump's own words. They were being deported. They were being detained. They were being shipped out. And that is not what is happening right now. And we absolutely have to stand up against that.
Discover the timeless value at Duke's Jewelers, a local treasure since 1948. Whether you're searching for a unique engagement ring or need expert watch repair, Duke's has been serving the community for over 75 years. It's the perfect time to visit and explore the wide selection of custom designs and quality gemstones. The skilled designers at Duke's can bring your dream piece to life, while experienced jewelers handle repairs and modifications in-house. Duke's Jewelers takes pride in value pricing, ensuring you receive the best prices every day. Need an appraisal? The Duke's Jewelers AGS certified gemologist is here to help. Whether it's hand or machine engraving, or redesigning old favorites into something new, get personalized service for every occasion. Visit Duke's Jewelers and experience the difference of locally operated expertise and dedication. Duke's Jewelers in Springfield, Utah.
This is Christian Staples with Arctic Spas. Way back in 1989, I started servicing hot tubs in Park City, and I learned the hard way in the freezing winter in the mountains that hot tubs are not built for Utah's harsh climate. I then found the Arctic Spa, the most northern manufacturer of hot tubs built specifically for the northern climates. Arctic Spas use perimeter insulation similar to your house where the outside walls are insulated. This allows us to utilize the excess heat from the motors to help heat the water and reduce your electric cost each month. Since then, we have sold 10,000 Arctic Spas here in Utah. We've learned that Arctic Spas last longer because they are built stronger. You can just feel the difference. Arctic Spas are easier to fix because we put access panels all the way around the spa, which makes it less expensive for you. Add this to the lower electric bills each month, and you end up with the least expensive hot tub to own over the long term. Arctic Spas, with stores covering all of Utah in Salt Lake, American Fork, and St. George, or online at arcticspasutah.com. Arctic Spas, the only spa built for Utah's harsh climate.
I'm Utah Tax Attorney Jordan Wilcox. Listen to what actual clients have had to say about working with us.
I'm Paul. I'm a contractor. I had a tax problem that was pretty significant. Needed some help with the IRS. I had prepared my taxes for a few years, but when I went to file them, I didn't have any money to pay those taxes. And so I just filed the returns in my drawer and went about my business. And about 3 years went by when I did that, and pretty soon I owed $102,000, and I met with Jordan, and we talked about the hole I dug myself into. And from start to finish, the process was encouraging, supportive, saved me about $80,000, $102,000 to $22,000. No complaints.
Hi, I'm Jordan Wilcox. You need a tax attorney that's not afraid to fight for you. Schedule your free consultation today. Visit endtaxworry.com.
The relief is immeasurable.
Don't wait. End your nightmare. Your relief starts at endtaxworry.com.
You ever notice when someone takes a sip out of a water bottle and they find it to be really good? They always seem to look at the label. Folks just can't help themselves when they take a sip out of a little spring water bottle. Well, there's a reason it's called nature in a bottle. No chemicals, no additives. It's just pure, clean, healthy water from a family-owned and operated bottled water company. And that little spring is nestled in a beautiful canyon in Bear Lake, Utah. Now, just imagine the reaction from your customers if that bottle of pure goodness wore your logo, designed just right to make your name stand proud. In the advertising world, they call those unique impressions. Of course, when you drink Little Spring Water, you'll just call it impressive. Let Little Spring Water help hand your customers something they will remember. Just visit littlespringwater.com to get a quote. It's actually quite reasonable. littlespringwater.com.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. We're monitoring a breaking story at the Salt Lake International Airport right now. Police confirmed a man is dead after an accident in the Delta cargo area. A box truck was backing into a loading dock when someone walked behind the truck and was hit and killed. Flight operations are not affected. Delta has commented on the matter, saying, quote, "We are saddened by this tragic accident and will cooperate with any investigations. Out of respect for the individual, his family, and the investigation process, we'll decline any further comment at this time." Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Trump says Harvard University should possibly lose its tax-exempt status. ABC's Will Reeve reports why that is.
Harvard is digging in. The university president writing in a statement, "No government, regardless of which party is in power, should dictate what private universities can teach, whom they can admit and hire, and which areas of study and inquiry they can pursue." President Obama writing on social media, "Harvard has set an example for other higher ed institutions, rejecting an unlawful and ham-handed attempt to stifle academic freedom. Let's hope other institutions follow suit."
It comes after the Trump administration and the university. It comes after the Trump administration as the university rejected demands to change its policies. The managing editor of the Harvard Crimson spoke with ABC News about the university's position as it might affect the medical school, where she says many research teams are reliant on federal funding.
Harvard is clearly bracing to weather this kind of storm, and whether that means taking legal action, whether that means diverting funds from elsewhere in the university to support the continuation of this research, I think we just don't know what's going to happen next.
Columbia University agreed to implement policy changes to satisfy demands by the Trump administration to avoid losing funding. Your money at this moment, the Dow's down just barely 22 points to 40,344. Coming up, we finally got out of the emergency traffic, and we've got some nice weather today. Traffic and weather together is next. KSL News Time 9:32.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for.
Hit it. It's time to spring into summer with Soda Weight Loss, because right now you'll get our biggest discount of the year.
Are you serious? Yeah! Just 3 weeks in, and the pounds are dropping off very quickly. I am down 26 pounds in 3 weeks.
Every single day, Soda Weight Loss is helping people let go of the weight. Without drugs, without hunger, and the weight stays off.
I let go of 50 pounds. It felt unreal. I was so proud of myself. My body did exactly what it wanted to do. I just gave it its tools.
Let's spring into summer right now with Soda Weight Loss. If you want to look like this for summer, now is the time to join America's #1 weight loss company for client satisfaction and results.
Remember, this is our best offer of the year, so let's go.
Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account with built-in benefits. Let's get an update from Heather Kelly.
Well, the freeways are pretty much back to normal speeds. Just a few brake lights here and there, especially northbound I-15 coming out of Utah County. But if you are on city streets, it is a mess, especially up in the Ogden area. We've got a train that is stopped on the tracks at 12th Street, and so it has completely blocked the intersection. Traffic is at a standstill as you exit I-15. Try to head east toward 500 West where the railroad tracks are, and then the same story westbound from Wall Avenue over to the railroad tracks. You need to find an alternate route to and from I-15. If you're down in Utah County, it is still pretty much a crawl trying to get out of either Eagle Mountain or Saratoga Springs on Pioneer Crossing, 2100 North and Redwood Road. If you do see something on the road we haven't mentioned, let us know on the KSL Mountain Home Services text line at 57500. Make your someday today. Start your dream kitchen or bath at Bedrock Quartz with 18 months 0% financing. Visit one of 7 Utah showrooms near you today or bedrockquartz.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather today will be partly sunny with a small chance of scattered showers, but not till later. Those chances will increase, though, as we get into tomorrow, and we'll most definitely get some rain overnight. Highs will reach the 70s again today. Right now, it is 63 degrees and mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio, priced out, housing, special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Might be more fitting to say squeezed out. We're talking about how small apartments are getting in Salt Lake City, shrinking. According to Axios, in the last decade, Dave, the average square footage for an apartment in Salt Lake City has shrunk to 750 square feet.
Welcome back to college. This is what we did in college. We just stacked each other in there like sardines in a can, and we had no space. It looks like that's the new normal. We're living in smaller spaces. We're still paying a premium, though.
Mm-hmm. Can you believe how small that is?
750 square feet.
I actually was like, I don't really know how small that is. Yeah, I don't know. What is that? So I looked it up on a website. It's called themeasuringofthings.com. That's the website. To get a visual. So 750 square feet, I mean, I'm taking this website's word for it, is about 1/6 of a standard NBA basketball court. A sixth of the size. I thought this was a better visual because I love tennis. I played tennis for years. A quarter of the size of a singles. So, you're not using the doubles. So, okay. You're using the singles court. A quarter of the size of that.
25 feet by 30.
Yeah, I like the visual of the singles quarter size of a singles tennis court. That I can visualize. When you start saying 25 by 30, I have to start getting the measuring tape out. But here's the other one. Here's the other measurement. It's about 17 and a half times as big as a king-size bed. So at least you can get a king-size bed in 750
lots of king-size beds.
750 square feet. That's really, really small. And I've lived in a really tiny space in my very distant past. It's tricky. The walls can close on you real quickly. There's not a lot of daylight with only one window, and your front door is in your bedroom. And so, so is your kitchen and your bathroom. What does that mean? How would that make you feel to just live in that size of space?
Yeah, I've lived it.
Oh,
absolutely. In college, right. I mean, you're living in these small spaces. Absolutely. I didn't have 750 feet. We were living in such confined spaces, which is just normal. And that was what I expected. And that was life. I didn't really think of anything. I didn't complain about it. I'm just like, oh, well, we're on top of each other. It's elbow to elbow. Everyone's sharing this small little sink and one refrigerator. So I think a lot of it is just I've changed now. When I'm 20 years old, when I'm 21 years old and I'm living with a bunch of my buddies, I didn't think of it. But now that I've lived in more spacious areas, the thought of going back would feel claustrophobic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of it is just perception for me. I was fine. I wasn't oppressed living in these small spaces in college, but it has changed. I don't know if I could do it because I'm like, I like my space now.
We have too much stuff.
Oh,
way too much
exactly.
Stuff.
Well, to the point when I'd move into college, I would fill up my 97 Honda Civic. I could fit all my stuff in a 97 Honda Civic. Right now, I need 2 U-Hauls.
Yeah. It is. So we are considered to be the 9th smallest in the nation in terms of apartment sizes right now. And this is, again, according to Axios. They put this out. I saw this morning. Apartments built in Salt Lake City in the past 10 years have averaged 750 square feet, the 9th smallest in the nation. That is smaller than Philadelphia, Chicago, Boston, and L.A., the average size is there. That's shocking to me.
Oh, yeah, for sure that's
shocking to me that our apartments are getting smaller when we have so much land. Not just in Salt Lake City. I know a lot of it's built out, and we not only have a lot of land, we have a lot of really big homes. By contrast, if you just look up on the hills on the east side, on the east bench of Salt Lake City, there's some massive homes. And I think homes are in general getting bigger. Like our homes, like if we're not renting an apartment and we're buying a home, we want to buy bigger and bigger. We're not satisfied with 1,500 square feet. The goal is to move up to 2,500 square feet, maybe even 5,000 square feet one day. And you have 2 air conditioning units and 2 water heaters and 2 HVAC systems and, and a home where you never find your kids in. If they go in a basement, you don't know where they are.
Are they still in the house? Are they still here? I've got some good numbers on this.
I want to hear that.
I've got some great numbers.
That. What are they?
The Zebra did a breakdown. This is the website, and they broke down what has changed over the years, specifically looking at the size of houses that we lived in. So you're talking about apartments, but I think it speaks to the same thing. We've grown into more and more space. Back in the 1980s, the average house, the size of the house, it was 1,600 square feet.
Okay.
Right now, that's a 2-3 bedroom townhouse, about 1,600 square feet. By 2018, it had jumped up 1,000 square feet. So the average house is now 2,400 square feet. It is not uncommon to see a house on the market that is 3, 4, 5,000 square feet. When you compare it to the 80s, when we were much more comfortable sharing rooms with our siblings, being in a small living room instead of a ginormous great room, we have just expanded our expectation of what it is to live in a house.
That's interesting. So let me contrast that with what's going on with the apartments. So as homes are getting bigger, apartments are shrinking. A decade ago, the average apartment size in Salt Lake City was 37 square feet larger than it is now.
Yeah, that is interesting. The houses are getting bigger. The apartments are getting smaller. And here's another element to it. Our families are getting smaller as well. As we're increasing the size of our homes, we're having less children.
Here's the other thing. It's not affordable to get into either, really, for a lot of people. If you're living in a 750 square foot space and they say, well, get a roommate. So it'll reduce the $1,400 a month or the $1,200 a month that you can hardly afford to pay because you're just not quite there yet, in terms of your career, your income. So get a roommate. Well, where are they going to go? They're going to share a bedroom with you? That can be, at a certain age, when you're out of college, when you're out of your parents' home, and you're an adult, that can get a little weird, and a little uncomfortable for people to share bedrooms. So people are paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month to rent these really tiny spaces. And frankly, 750 square feet, is that one bedroom? Is that a studio? It's almost as like it's just not only so tiny, but rent costs so much in Salt Lake City that, maybe you love it. There's people out there who absolutely love living in these smaller spaces. I know for me, after a while, it became a struggle, and it was in Yuma, so it was super hot. It was like 125 degrees outside in the summer, so you weren't getting outside and going for a walk, not even in the evening. It was just too hot to be outside for any good deal of time. So on weekends, guess what? I was stuck in my studio apartment watching television all weekend, and at some point by Sunday evening, climbing the walls and looking forward to going back to work. Maybe that's a good thing, but you're paying a lot. There's not enough room for a roommate. Maybe there is, if you're comfortable with that situation, but you're also financially kind of being tapped because it's a lot of money for a tiny space. But are you on a team tiny home? Or are you on team big home with all this?
I think we're fine in smaller homes. I think our perception is skewed, and I think we think we need more space than we need. So I think, you know what, this smaller home, a smaller apartment is totally fine. I think we're a little bit spoiled.
And at one point I was on team big home, but as you know, I've downsized. And just the other day I was showing my daughter a 900 square foot home, single family home.
Yeah.
That I was interested in. And she's like, that's too small for you. She's like, yeah, it's absolutely too small for you. I'm like, I don't know. Mom's kind of like I'm shrinking. And in terms of what I need and what I want in my life, I want less stuff and more time and less space and less cleaning to do. But at one point in my life, I was on team big home and I regretted it. I absolutely regretted it. So what are you on? Team big home? Got to buy bigger. Or are you on team tiny home? You're like, Dave, you love that small space. 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. We're going to take your live calls next.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors to tell you about our 10-year everything guarantee. Most contractors spout off having great warranties that last forever. But those warranties are always, and I do mean always, riddled with loopholes, exception, fine print, and nonsense. At RGS Exteriors, we cover everything. Parts, labor, material, everything and anything for 10 full years. There's no cost to you whatsoever. No hoops to jump through, no exceptions. Yes, the products we sell, like James Hardy Siding, our windows, gutter covers, come with a 25 to 50-year manufacturer's warranty, just like everybody else. But the truth is, the products almost never fail. It's always the labor and material which is never covered, so you're stuck paying for service calls. For peace of mind, call RGS Exteriors. You'll sleep easy for 10 full years. 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's 801-280-3110 or online rgsutah.com. Gutters, siding, windows, and all exteriors with the 10-year everything guarantee.
Breaking news, massive consumer alert. Windows 10 support is ending in October of 2025. After that, Microsoft will no longer provide security updates or bug fixes for most users. This could expose you to hackers who could steal all your data or worse yet, your crypto, your money out of your bank account, your stocks. It could be crazy. If you're still using Windows 10, you might want to consider upgrading to Windows 11. Bring your PC, no matter where you bought it. I don't care if you bought it from me. Bring it into any PC laptop's location and we'll scan it to see if you can upgrade it to Windows 11. Now, if you can't, you're still in luck because we'll buy your used computer from you and transfer all your data for free to your new PC laptop's computer. Now, PC laptops, desktops, or laptops start at only $999, and we have zero interest for a year financing to make it really easy on approved credit. So just get into PC laptops right now because we love you. PClaptops.com. That's PClaptops.com. Computers from $999.
Dave and Dujanovic. Priced out. Housing. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
So Axios is reporting this morning that apartments built in the last 10 years in the Salt Lake City area, on average, have been built out to about 750 square feet. I was like, ooh. And that's shrunk over the last several years. It's like down from 37 square feet larger, so it was like 787 square feet on average 10 years ago. But you're talking like in a small space like that, 37 square feet, like that's a windfall of space. But Dave and I talking about this because it made me wonder, tiny spaces, is that how we are going to be living out our lives here in Salt Lake City? I mean, we're comparing this, Dave, to other, like we're ninth smallest in the nation, like Philadelphia and Chicago and Boston and LA. Some of our apartments here are smaller than the averages there.
The U.S. Census Bureau has broken down what it has looked like over the years. And since 1980, so over the last 40 years or so, we went from an average size home of 1,600 square feet. We're approaching 3,000 square feet now.
For a home.
In Utah County,
yeah.
The average home is 2,800 square feet. And I think we've gotten a little bit spoiled with having larger, bigger homes, and every single kid has its own room.
Yeah.
My brother and I, we shared a room for years. My sister had her own room, but my brother and I said...
That explains everything, doesn't it?
Explains everything. But we didn't think a thing about it.
Yeah.
I didn't think a thing about going down to college, living with a bunch of roommates, having no room, very similar, 750 square feet. I didn't really think about it. It was just that's how you lived, and you adapted, and you lived just fine. I think we're a little bit greedy right now.
Yeah. I lived right out of college in a studio apartment. It was so small. If I turned around, I'd bump into the wall, and then if I turned around again, I bumped into the stove. Andy in Eagle Mountain, are you on team tiny home? Or are you on team bigger and bigger and bigger?
I'm kind of split, to be honest with you. I just recently moved down to Eagle Mountain, where I actually have a 4,200 square foot home, and it's just my wife and I and a gal we take care of. But my original home that I bought back in '90 when I got married was only 750 square feet. I had a payment of $250 a month, but the house was built in 1912.
I'm sure it didn't have any
750
plumbing or
feet.
electrical issues, right? Yeah.
It had its share of issues.
Yeah, of course. Do you miss the small space?
No. Matter of fact, my second home with my 4 kids was a 1,600 square foot home that we lived in for 24 years, and we only had 1 bathroom in that house, and
that's cozy.
My son, it was quite cozy for us, 3 girls and one boy with our parents share.
Yeah, you got voted off the island there. There's no question, Andy. You were voted off the island. Your bathroom time was not prioritized. Thank you so much for the phone call. Glenn in Riverton, you work for the gas company. All right, so you've probably seen the size of homes over the years.
In ancient times, I worked for the gas company. What I want to just comment is that between 1970 and the year 2000, home sizes in Utah more than doubled,
yes,
and used the same energy. So
that's
your point
interesting.
earlier was the correct point.
I hadn't thought about energy. We've become so highly efficient, but you're saying even with these smaller homes, we were using the same amount of energy as these larger homes now?
Yes, because the insulation standards are much better.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Good to know. Thanks, Glenn. Travis from South Jordan. So you're on Team Tiny Home, huh?
I think I am on Team Tiny Home, but really I'm Team Housing Mix in every neighborhood. I think that's what's really the most important thing. And right now, across our state, most housing is kind of illegal to build. You can't build an apartment building in most of the state. You can't build townhomes or the kind of homes that people might be wanting or the market might be wanting given these high prices. So, I think I'm probably lean on Team Small Home.
The small homes, I think, get a bad rap. Sometimes we think we have a standard and maybe we're trying to keep up with the Joneses or the Dujanovicses or the Noriegases, right? Sometimes we get caught up in that and we think that we need this large home, but my home that I grew up in, it was one of those 1,600 square foot homes. I shared a room with my brother. We had to finish a basement. We ended up expanding the house, but the new standard of 3,000 square feet. I thought it was fascinating. Andy told us his wife, and another person, 3 people are living in a home right now, 4,200 square feet. Like, is that a luxury that we need, or is that just more vacuuming that needs to be done?
But where I'm landing on this is if you're paying $1,400 a month for 750 square feet, is that worth it? It seems to me like outrageous. Because now if you do have stuff and you're downsizing to 750 square feet, now you got to go rent a storage shed for an additional $150 or $200 a month, or get rid of everything. I suppose that's always an option as well. But premium prices in downtown or Salt Lake City and surrounding areas for a very small amount of space. And you cannot tell me that a 30-something-year-old is going to want to share a 1-bedroom apartment with somebody they're either like not married to or not in a partnership with. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I just need a roommate. And there's, 1 bedroom with 2 twin beds in it. That just doesn't fly either. I mean, that won't fly for a lot of people. They won't want to get into that situation. So now you're kind of stuck financially paying these expenses, and then everything else they tack on with these prices. It's not just the rent. It's also, maybe there's a cable package and a Wi-Fi package and and utility expenses and on and on and on. And now you're up to $1,800 a month, and all for 750 square feet. I guess you better hope there's a rooftop deck up there to get up there and enjoy and get out of your space, or that your apartment has a ton of windows and tall ceilings, so it makes it feel a lot larger than it actually is.
Oh, that was a great reminder of what did I do? I didn't hang out of my apartment all the time. When I lived in this small area, I got up, I left, we went elsewhere, and I think now with larger homes, it's a little easier to stretch out, not be on top of each other, not be squeezing each other out, and we can be in the house at the same time and still kind of feel alone.
Oh, look at Dave. Always making lemonade, no matter what the circumstances. Straight ahead, we're just coming off getting settled up on our federal and state income taxes, right? Well, here's some more bad news. The total amount you pay in taxes, property, auto, sales, etc., etc. I think this has Dave seeing red. We'll find out next.
At KSL News Radio, we have a 30-year legacy of honoring Utah teachers, but we can't do it without your help. Please tell us about an important teacher in your life on the KSL Teacher Tribute Wall, presented by Cypress Credit Union. Each month, one lucky teacher wins a $500 gift card from Cypress Credit Union, a $250 gift card to Harmon's, plus season tickets to Hale Center Theater. Say thanks to your teacher today at kslnewsradio.com/teacher from Cypress Credit Union and KSL News Radio.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and there's a good chance you've heard me talking about our free furnace sale. The one where you buy a new air conditioner and we give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it, about $400. Well, we still have a few more spots on our schedule we need to fill, so I'm extending the sale, but I'm not quite sure for how much longer. Definitely no later than April 30th, and once I think our schedule's full enough, I gotta pull these ads, so don't wait too long to call and schedule your free estimate. The main reason we do this sale is to give you an incentive to help us keep our guys busy when the weather's mild. And thanks to your help, we're able to keep our guys and keep growing. So if your furnace and air conditioner are ready to be replaced, you owe it to yourself to at least schedule a free estimate and get all the details about our free furnace sale. Just to recap, when you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it. About $400. The furnace is free, you just pay the labor. If you think you might be interested, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Howdy, folks. It's me again. And surprise, it's tomato frenzy time at J&J Garden Center in Layton. Right now, all large-size tomato plants are only $2.99 each. That's half price and grown from seed right here at J&J. And while you're here, pick up a bag or two of J&J's private label all-purpose premium topsoil to help strengthen your vegetable garden for only $5.98 a cubic foot bag. So come to the Tomato Frenzy sale at J&J Garden Center in Layton, where they have the best products at the best price and the best employees, too. Take the Layton Parkway exit, Main Street to Gentile, then west 2 miles. You got to see it to believe it. You really do.
Country grown to your home, J&J Garden Center.
Do you hear annoying buzzing or ringing in your ears? If you or a loved one suffer from chronic tinnitus, you may have been told there's basically nothing you can do. Not true. Since 2003, Timpanogos Hearing and Tinnitus has helped over 8,000 patients treat hearing loss and decrease their experience with tinnitus. While there is no cure, there are very effective treatments available, including an exciting new FDA-approved treatment called Linear. Here's Utah audiologist and tinnitus expert Dr. Lane Garrett.
In my book, I'll show you the latest research and scientifically proven treatments, including Linear, which was recently approved by the FDA for the treatment of tinnitus, so you can finally find relief.
Get your free copy of Dr. Garrett's book, Take Your Life Back, at freetinnitusbook.com or call 801-770-4746 for more or to schedule a consultation. Let's quiet the noise and bring back your peace. Call 801-770-4746 or visit freetinnitusbook.com. That's freetinnitusbook.com.
This is Derek Overstreet of the New Millennium Group and host of Stop Working and Start Living Radio. If you're close to or in retirement and you don't have a tax plan, call us right now, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. Listen, our country's been spending like never before, and the tax bill is coming soon. If you need an income tax strategy and a financial plan that will get you through the rest of your life, give my team a call, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. If you want an investment plan that allows you to keep more of your gains and pay less taxes, give us a call, 888-999-6370. My team specializes in the type of plan that will get you retired 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible. So, get a no-cost tax analysis by calling 888-999-6370. That's 999-6370. My team is standing by now.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. One person is dead after police say they were run over by a truck at the Delta cargo lot of the Salt Lake City airport this morning. Salt Lake City Police Detective Michael Ruff says a box truck was backing into a loading dock when the accident happened, and the driver is cooperating in the investigation.
That individual's cooperating with us, but this isn't a case where there's a crime that's occurred. It's an unfortunate accident.
Police say the accident is not affecting operations at the airport. Delta sent out a statement about this morning's accident at the airport. It reads, quote, "We are saddened by this tragic accident and will cooperate with any investigations. Out of respect for the individual, his family, and the investigation process, we'll decline any further comment at this time." We're also working to get more information right now about a reported explosion and fire at a Northrop Grumman building in Box Elder County. The sheriff's office says no injuries have been reported. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The FBI Seattle field office is asking for the public's help finding the person responsible for starting a fire at a Tesla supercharger station in Lacey, Washington.
Someone with injuries such as a concussion, burns, or shrapnel cuts that could be caused by being near an explosion or intense heat. And an individual with a slight limp to the right leg kicking out and his right hand sometimes held behind his back.
Special Agent in Charge Mike Harrington says they're treating the incident as if it is a domestic terrorism case. Your money at this moment, the Dow's down 181 points since opening to 40,187. Coming up, it's nice today and warm, but then the rain moves in tonight. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time is 10:02.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
You know Master Electrical Service. They've been around since 1954. How about that? Generations of service for the Utah community. Mountain Home Services has joined with Master Electrical Service, and now they're bringing all this expertise into some one-stop shopping.
And they're still your trusted source for all your electrical needs, your EV chargers, your generators, your recessed lighting, and the list has grown even more.
Yeah, they HVAC, heating and air, your plumbing. They actually installed my furnace years ago, and then they'd do the service on it every couple of years, and it just hummed along phenomenally well. Top notch. So happy with it.
Yep. All comes with that upfront pricing guarantee that you and I have been talking about for quite some time now. So that means that the price that they quote you at the beginning of the job is the price you pay when the job is done. No hidden fees.
100% satisfaction guarantee. All you have to do is reach out to them. MountainHomeservices.com is the website. MountainHomeservices.com.
Or here's the phone number, 801-543-2222. One more time, 801-543-2222.
If you're ready to buy a home or sell a home and you're worried about the current real estate market because of what you've heard from some of your friends or family, well, we're here to tell you that you really shouldn't be worried because now is a great time to buy and sell with our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
And here's why. Buyers have more options due to increased inventory, which gives them the power to negotiate for repairs, interest rate buy-downs, and closing cost assistance. While at the same time, sellers are still getting top dollar for their homes, with home values that are higher today than ever before. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, the current real estate market presents a win-win opportunity for both buyers and sellers.
But you still do want to make sure that you're working with a team of real estate experts you can trust that can get you some great results. And that's our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
They have helped thousands of Salt Lake City homeowners, and they're ready to help you. To get started, just go to thesternteam.com. That's thesternteam.com, or Google The Stern Team.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, Junior Hot and Crispy Fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Join Mike Stevens of Capital Wealth Advisors for Retire Right Radio, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. That's Retire Right Radio with Mike Stevens, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account with built-in benefits. Let's check in with Heather Kelly.
Well, drivers trying to get through Saratoga Springs have had a mess all morning long. It's taking double, sometimes even triple the amount of time you'd normally take at this time of the morning on both Pioneer Crossing and 2100 North heading eastbound between Redwood Road and I-15. Now, the good news is once you get to I-15, you don't have any problems northbound or southbound, either down to Spanish Fork or heading into the Salt Lake Valley. And also up in Ogden, the train has finally moved off the tracks, or away from the roadway anyway, at 12th Street in Ogden. Traffic is moving to and from I-15 without delay, finally. A bold new Madame Butterfly is downloading now, reimagined through a virtual reality lens where fantasy and heartbreak collide. Experience Madame Butterfly at Capitol Theater May 3rd through the 11th. Madame Butterfly. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Well, KSL weather will get up to 73 degrees today, but then the winds pick up as a cold front moves in tonight, bringing scattered rain showers through Thursday and into Friday morning. Right now it is 63 degrees and mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Every year, right around tax season, I look forward to talking about my favorite fictitious couple from Utah, Bob and Brooke Beehive. Married, parents of 3 beautiful children. One was just born like last year, so they have a newborn child. Together, combined, they make, $96,503 a year in income. Would you ever suspect, Dave, that their total tax burden, when added all up, hits almost $31,000 a year?
Unbelievable. This is one of the most eye-opening, eye-popping, important reports that I've seen. I wish every single Utahn would look at this because we just finished tax day yesterday. Midnight, you had to have your federal income taxes filed. That is just the federal income tax.
Right.
And what this does is it takes all the taxes that you pay in your life. And I can guarantee you, you have no idea. You've forgotten or you don't think about all the ways that you are being taxed. And what this report does, Bob and Brooke Beehive, and they've done this for years, they break it down on every level of how you're being taxed, from food to alcohol to property tax, you name it, they're putting it in there and say, okay, this is the percent you're paying. This is how much. And what does it take? You're making $96,000. And what are you actually getting? What do you get to keep
What do you get
after
to keep?
taxes?
After a total tax burden. I'm going to break it down a little bit more before we talk to Billy Hesterman, the president of the Utah Taxpayers Association. He's waiting on the line. I'm sure he's going to enjoy listening to our rant about this report that they issued. And they do a good job using this fictitious family, Bob and Brooke. So let's just dive into where all of their money is going when it comes to their tax burden. And I don't want to start at the top of this report, which is the Social Security Medicare tax and the payroll tax. I want to start with the tax that puts the bee in my bonnet. All right? The property tax burden. The property tax issue has, it's gotten under my skin lately because I'm realizing I'm going to have to pay that for the rest of my life, even though if after 30, 35 years, whatever it takes you to pay off your home, right? If you refinance it or whatever, you move, you're paying a mortgage payment for decades. You pay the thing off, you still have this property tax. Well, in the case of the beehives, their property tax that they're forking out of that almost $31,000 tax burden is 15.3%. It's 15.3% of their income, but it's $4,700 of that tax burden. So you don't pay that property tax because you run into tough times. What bugs me about it is I stand the risk of losing my home, right? Because the entity I pay my property taxes to can go after me for non-payment, right? They can put a lien against my home. And I know there's programs out there, okay? I know there's programs out there for relief. But $4,700 a year of their income is going just to property taxes. And we can break it down from there. A lot of it goes to education. I support education. My kids were in public school. I understand all that. I can be very logical about it. But $4,700 a year in property taxes for the beehives is the bee in my bonnet.
How about the library? How about the rec center? Mm-hmm. How about the parks and recreation tax?
Yep.
I mean, all of these things, we can look at it in an isolated, narrow little scope and say, oh, okay, yeah, I want there to be parks. I want to fund the local recreation. But this is what happens. We have tax upon tax upon tax upon tax, and then next thing you know, for a family that's making six figures, that's making $100,000, they just paid over $30,000 in total tax.
What's the bee in your bonnet tax on this list?
I can't remember what I landed on, Debbie, because I had so many. Which one was it?
Has to do with like wireless tax.
Oh, that one right there, folks.
Yeah, he got wound up about this earlier.
Remember, we come from the years of phone on the wall, and it was like $25.
Yeah, you couldn't even walk around your house in the beginning when I got my first phone. It was totally attached to the wall.
And we got a wireless phone, and that's like a really big deal, right? For $25.
It's like we're rich.
Now, Bob and Brooke Beehive are paying $1,500 a year on their wireless bill. $500 of that is going to taxes. It's over 30% they're taxing on the wireless bill. $500 for wireless taxes?
Did you see the one about the sales tax that this family's paying? $2,900 a year goes to sales tax, and it's reasonable, right? They spend $6,000 a year on food, so they put out about $185 in tax on that. Restaurants, they put tax, they have to pay tax on purchases at restaurants, transportation taxes. They have to buy clothes because they got 3 kids, right? So they're paying sales tax on that to the tune of $166 in that year. It all adds up to $3,000. So I was doing the math on that. I don't pay attention to sales tax when I get my receipt. I'm like, nah, it's just the way we do business. I'm just gonna pay sales tax, whatever. I'm not gonna argue with the cashier over the amount of sales tax. I just pay it. I hardly even look at it.
No,
exactly. Occasionally I do a little bit of the math to know is that item I'm going to purchase that over my budget because of the sales tax, yada, blah, blah, blah. So I don't pay attention. But when I look at that, I'm like, I'm paying, and so are you. We all are. I'm not special. We're all paying thousands of dollars a year in sales tax. Well, then I took out the calculator, and this is where things get dangerous for me. I figure out that it's about $250 a month. Is my math correct on that?
Yep.
Just in sales tax. All right. Well, $250 a month. You're like, oh, you don't even miss it, right? No, you don't, because you don't even look at the receipt. You just accept that it's going to cost, you're going to pay sales tax. $250 a month is equal to what I pay for car insurance every month and my cell phone bill combined, with a little bit of money left over for a latte.
Incredible. And I think as we look at all the things that the government does, whether it's repairing your roads or providing Social Security, we forget this has to be funded.
I know.
And it has.
I know.
If we keep saying yes to everything, because we think, oh, that's a good program. Oh, we want to do that. You have to fund it. And this is how it gets funded. Whether it's property taxes, auto taxes, state income taxes, Social Security, Medicare, all of these things have to be funded. And even despite all of these ways that they collect money from us, the way they collect tax, we still federally run at a nearly $2 trillion a year deficit. So they're taking $31,000 from the beehives, and it's still not enough.
Well, anytime I talk about this and I get my bee in my bonnet, and you get your bee in your bonnet, I'll still pay. I still I pay because I use the library. I pay because I think school and public schools are important. My kids went to public school. A lot of kids in my neighborhood walk to the public school down the street. I support that. I use the parks. I use the rec center. My kids use the rec center. So while I complain about it, I love to complain about taxes like everybody. I'm not going to not pay. Billy Hesterman, president of the Utah Taxpayers Association, you've been listening to us talk about this. What was your take on the beehives paying some like $31,000 of their income to satisfy their total tax burden, which includes, property taxes, Social Security taxes, state income taxes, federal tax? It's a list, but it's still $31,000.
Yeah, it was eye-opening. This is obviously I'm new to the association, so this was my first time going through this report, and seeing the total was a reminder, like you both said, of wow, how much of taxes are hidden, and not because the government's trying to pull a fast one on us. They just want to make it easy for it to be collected and paid, and you just don't realize how much is really being taken. On the flip side, though, when you think about like you both have mentioned, the roads, the schools, the rec centers, the street lights, everything that we do benefit from the government, it's got to be paid for somewhere. But it's certainly eye-opening how much it requires.
Billy, the biggest aha moment I have, and this is something obviously top of mind because yesterday was tax day, federal income tax day. That is just a sliver of the taxes that we pay in total. But what shocked me about this report is the Bob and Brooke Beehive making under $100,000, $96,000 a year. They only paid 5% in federal income tax. This was a sliver, a fraction of the blame, right? It's so easy for us to blame the federal government and all the taxes and how much we pay. But quite frankly, the local and in Utah taxes far exceeded what the federal income tax was. Can you speak to that of how federal income tax in this case was just such a small amount?
Yeah, it's really an example of what the problem is in Washington, that we have a spending problem in our country and that we don't have enough money to cover what we're spending. And there's not a political will from our elected officials in Washington to cut spending, but there's also not a political will from them to actually ask the taxpayers for more money. So that's why our country is in so much debt, and why, I don't know what the future holds for us in that, but why we are beholden to other countries, because now they own our debt, and we have to recognize that. And so I think it should put a pressure on all of us to ask, our 2 senators and our 4 Congress people to look for ways to balance the budget. Let's start, getting back on track to spending what we have and do what they do at the state level of making sure that we keep within our means.
I don't really see a way out of any of this. I mean, I guess if you just never bought anything, you'd never pay sales tax. But overall, I mean, you're talking this $31,000 tax burden, rounded up a few bucks, is state income taxes, it's property taxes, it's payroll taxes, it's Social Security taxes. It's, I guess if you didn't drive a car, perhaps you wouldn't have to pay the gas tax, but you got to get around. Maybe you have to take an Uber and you're paying Uber fees or something like that, or rideshare fees. So I don't really see a way out of it personally, other than to spend less. But to your point, it's eye-opening enough that, maybe we need to lean on the people who represent us to recognize that, we're paying a lot in taxes here.
Yeah, and it's important to remember at the city, county, and state level of government, the taxes largely pay for employee salary. And not that I believe any government official is overpaid, but they do enjoy some securities that the rest of us don't, in that we know that, my city that I live in, Bluffdale, is probably never going out of business, or is probably never going to get bought, and they're going to downsize the company. So they do have some job security things that come with that. And so we do have to look at and say, how much are we paying our government employees? Is it enough? Is it too much? Do we need to recalibrate what's being done? And that's something we can look at to maybe bring down the burden some, but we still need to pay our employees a fair wage that allows them to live and enjoy the state also, like we all do.
We're speaking with Billy Hesterman, who's the president of the Utah Taxpayers Association. And Billy, Debbie and I are talking about the bees in our bonnet, what we're looking at, what bothers us, what is maybe shocking to us. When you were going through this, I got to ask you, what's the bee in your bonnet? Was it the wireless service that has a tax rate of 31.23%, or is it the property taxes? Well, what's the bee in your bonnet?
You hit it right on the head. It's the wireless one. In Utah, we're fairly an average to below average state when it comes to tax burden. Our property tax actually is number 43 in the country. So we're, while it's still high, it's lower than most. But that wireless tax is actually in the top 10. I believe we're number 7 in the country on our wireless taxes. And you kind of have to ask, well, why is that? And it's the burdens we place on our wireless users, which is pretty much all of us now. What are we asking us to pay? And we need to take a deeper look at that and ask the question of, is it fair? Are we paying the right things there? Or are there things that could be shifted or to be general fund items, or things that are just nice to have that maybe we don't need to have?
Billy, thank you so much for joining us. Billy Hesterman is the president of the Utah Taxpayers Association, and we're talking about this new report that they released. It's called the Beehive Family, where it takes a fictional Utah family, so this is supposed to represent the average Utah family. They make $96,000 a year. Mom and dad both work, 3 kids, and then they break down the tax burden of this family. They make $96,000. They pay $31,000 in taxes.
So I was thinking, if they took out 6% of that and socked it away in a retirement plan, whether it's an IRA or a 401k, I was like, okay, what does that break down to after they pay their taxes? And of course, the 401k money and IRA money should come out. It's, before taxes. So they get a little bit of a break there because they're socking that away. But that leaves them about $60,000 a year to live on. And I was like, okay, with 3 kids, and again, I'm like beyond the age where my kids are newborn, and in this case, their kids are really young, right? This fictional family, their kids are young. So, is $5,000 a month reasonable to live on? 30 years ago, I think I would have sounded like a windfall. But today, with the expensive housing, we just talked about rent, apartment spaces in Salt Lake City shrinking and rents increasing, and the cost of food and the cost of taking your family out for a meal and the cost of daycare because they both work. It seems like Brooke works part-time, and according to this scenario, as a real estate agent. I just don't know if $5,000 a month would be enough to make ends meet.
Such a great point, because when we're looking at these breakdowns, this is just the tax itself. So they're telling you this is what you're paying in gas tax. It doesn't take into account what you're paying for gasoline. It's not breaking down what you're paying for your wireless service. It's breaking down what your tax burden is. So,
or your car payment.
Or your car payment, exactly.
Your house payment.
Yeah, your car insurance and all these taxes. I think it's one of these moments where we have to look at it and say, I didn't realize it. I didn't realize all the ways we're being taxed. Now, you justify it, and the government justifies it. They say, well, if you like roads and you don't want to be hitting a pothole every 5 feet, then this is why we have to tax the gasoline, as this is how we're going to repair our roads. But we have to be honest and look at it and say, if you're taking a third of my income just in taxes, and the wild thing about state and sales tax, this affects the low income earners. Federal income tax doesn't affect low-income earners. They usually get a waiver. They don't owe anything, so they don't pay anything for federal tax usually. But you will still pay that sales tax. You're still getting bitten by all these other taxes. You're still going to pay the gas tax. You're still going to pay the wireless tax.
Yeah, and you have a $5,000 a month to raise, to fund a family of 5 left over. I just start doing the math on a, back of a paper napkin or on a paper, on a napkin. It's like the math ain't mathin'.
And this is a family that's making 6 figures. How many families in Utah are making under 6 figures?
I know. That's another thing. They're like above the average.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Straight ahead. If you can afford a summer vacation after that talk, I don't know. Maybe you can't. But if you can afford a summer vacation and you decide, you know what, we're gonna live large. We're gonna rent a sedan when we get to Disney World. You're gonna rent a car. Do you need to purchase the extra insurance policy from a rental car company? I wrestle with this every single time I rent a car. Should I? Shouldn't I? Well, before you say no, because you carry your own auto insurance, and so you feel like you're covered, you got to stick around and wait to hear what the KSL5 investigative team found out about that. They're up next.
Peyton was a very kind and giving person. At 15 years old, he sustained life-threatening injuries from a motorcycle accident that took his life. His family felt like Peyton would want to save others and made the decision to donate his organs. Because of their generosity, his organs saved a 2-year-old girl, a teenage boy, and others that were desperate in need of life-saving organs. Go to donorconnect.life and read about what it takes to become a donor. Did you know many people think that they're too old or not in good enough health to be a donor? Anyone can be a donor. If you were told that it could save the life for someone close to you, or even a stranger, would you donate? Finding out more on why you should become a donor is easy. DonorConnect.life can walk you through the process and what it takes to simply sign up. Check yes to become a donor when you renew your driver's license. Give hope. Heal life. DonorConnect.life.
Are you looking for a fun way to get your kids outside and off their screens this spring? Try flower gardening. Starting a beautiful flower bed or easy container garden is a great hands-on way to spend quality time together while teaching kids about nature. They'll love digging in the dirt, picking out their favorite flowers, and watching them bloom, all while making real, lasting memories. Plus, gardening is a great way to slow down, soak up some sunshine, and enjoy the fresh air as a family. This is Brian with Olson's Greenhouse, and my family has been growing flowers with care for 4 generations right here in Utah. Whether you have a big sunny backyard or just a small shady front porch, our colorful, locally grown flowers make it easy to add beauty to your home. So this spring, start with a new family tradition, one that grows with your kids. Get inspiration at Olson's Greenhouse Gardens on Instagram or find a garden center near you at ogg.com. That's ogg.com for Olson's Greenhouse Gardens.
Get a head start on the warmer months ahead with a $29 AC tune-up from Yes Air Conditioning, Heating, Plumbing, and Electric. Yes offers licensed technicians and an exceptional service guarantee to give you peace of mind and help prevent expensive breakdowns. Ensure your system is working at peak efficiency and help save money on energy costs with a $29 AC tune-up from Yes Air Conditioning, Heating, Plumbing, and Electric. Call now or visit theyesmancan.com for details, terms, and conditions. Just say yes.
At Trio Senior Living, older adults aren't slowing down. They're just getting started. The Prime Fit Wellness Program expands wellness beyond the gym into every aspect of community life. Whatever your goals, the team at Trio Senior Living has got your back so you can put your best foot forward. Call 801-475-4004 today to schedule your personal visit.
Spring fever is heating up and Motorsportsland's Markdown Madness event is just beginning. Don't miss your chance to save big on your dream RV. Now through April 26th, score unbeatable deals on Utah's best RV selection. New travel trailers from $5 a day, fifth wheels from $14, and motorhomes starting at just $35 a day. With no hidden fees, just upfront pricing and a low-pressure buying environment. And mark your calendar for RV University, April 26th. Free seminars led by top manufacturers and our expert team. Seating is limited, so reserve your spot now at motorsportsland.com. For over 55 years, families have trusted Motorsportsland for honest pricing, flexible financing, expert service, and the best parts inventory in Utah. Markdown Madness ends April 26th, so come into a Motorsportsland RV Center today and let us help you get away.
Let Motorsportsland help you get away.
Motorsportsland.com.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour: multiple colleges at Utah State University are combining as the school looks to meet lawmakers' demands to cut costs. KSL News Radio's Virl Johansson explains.
5 colleges are being merged into 2. The school newspaper, the USU Today, posted a letter sent to university faculty and staff from interim president Alan Smith. The letter states the College of Humanities and Social Sciences Dean Joe Ward will oversee a new college that includes the Kane College of the Arts and the College of Science. The university hasn't announced who will head the new college, combining the College of Agriculture and Applied Sciences and the S.J. and Jesse E. Quinney College of Natural Resources.
The letter says some departments will be consolidated, but doesn't say how the university plans to do it. Sandy City Police are looking for a 12-year-old who was last seen at the tracks platform at the historic Sandy Station. Taddy Valdez was wearing a gray hoodie, khaki pants, and black shoes. Anyone with information should call police. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Iranian state television has confirmed that a second round of Iran-U.S. nuclear talks will be held in Rome. The talks will be mediated by Oman, as they were last weekend. Your money at this moment: the Dow's down 213 points, 0.5% to 40,155. Coming up, we've got warm weather this afternoon, but then a storm's coming later tonight. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 10:31.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
One of the best things about Renaissance Ranch is they want to help the entire family if you have a loved one that is struggling with addiction. And that is something that research has shown, that when you have an entire family and a support system in place, the chances of a positive outcome skyrocket.
And that's why they offer free family support services through these weekly online classes that are open to the public. And oftentimes they'll have a couple of classes a day or every day of the work week. So that means that you can maybe tear away from, the grind of work, and you get to your car and it's a nice afternoon and you can sit there and dial up one of these. They're essentially like Zoom meetings. Jump online and listen to learn information that you need that can provide hope and healing for yourself.
You're right. It is exactly that. It is a Zoom meeting, and every single day. I think Sundays are the only day they don't do it. Oh, there is one on Sunday. I just saw. Okay. So they take care of you. There are so many different classes that are available for your personal needs, for spouses, for parents. There's a women's support group and a couples recovery group. They've been doing this for more than 20 years. They're faith-based and clinically proven. Check out these free online classes, open to the public. Just go to renaissanceranch.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account with built-in benefits. This is Heather Kelly.
In on the KSL Mountain Home Services text line at 57500. They let us know that the power is out on 700 East between 8600 and 9400 South in Sandy. So if you do come across those lights, you need to treat them as a 4-way stop and just use a lot of caution. If you also see anything else on the roadways, let us know at 57500. Otherwise, you're going to have a good drive right now on the I-15 corridor throughout Utah, Salt Lake, and Davis counties. Just have a few brake lights from time to time in some of your road construction zones, especially on Bangerter Highway and coming out of Eagle Mountain and Saratoga Springs on Pioneer Crossing. Whipple Service Champions, your cooling, heating, plumbing, drains, and electrical specialists. Whipple that away. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather now. We're going to get up to 73 today, but there's a cold front blowing in this evening. That cold front will bring rain to the valleys and snow in the mountains through Thursday into Friday. We could even see a little snow on the valley floor early Friday morning. Right now, it's mostly overcast and 63 degrees in Salt Lake. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Dave, I have this battle within my own brain every single time I rent a car when I go on vacation. So I'm standing at the rental counter, and they, turn the form around, and they're like, "Do you want the extra insurance on your rental car?" And I'm like, "Oh, I think my policy, my personal auto insurance policy, covers it. Like if I'm in a fender bender while I'm out here in no man's land driving around this car and somebody crashes into me, it'll be covered." But I actually don't know the answer to that. And thankfully, the KSL 5 investigative unit has been looking into this after hearing from a woman who found out she owed a lot of money.
You say you had an internal battle.
I do.
I never have. I've always decline. My insurance takes care of it. I talked to my insurance agent. And then the KSL investigative team comes in and said, Dave, before you so cavalierly just deny all coverage, think about this. And then I'm not so certain anymore. I'm not so sure whether or not I should be turning down my my rental insurance for these cars. So Sloan Trigg joins us right now. And this is the very thing you guys looked into.
We do, yeah. I mean, the thing is, we had our viewer reach out to us, and she got a hit with fees. It wasn't her fault, and the other guy's insurance paid for the damages to the vehicle. But the rental company hit her with these additional charges on top, and they hit her with what's called loss of use. And that's the rental company saying, hey, that's money we've lost out on while our car was in the shop. And they also hit her with what's called diminished value. And they're saying this is how much less our car is now worth because of this incident.
So can you back us up? So her name's Debbie, great name, spelled the right way, I-E. You back us up to what she was in Hawaii.
Yes.
Right, and she's checking out a rental car, and in that moment, did she decline the waiver or the extra insurance that the company would have offered her?
She did, and she always does. And she's been traveling for a long time, and she's never accepted those waivers. And just like Dave, she says her her car insurance covers the rental car damage.
And did it?
It did the damage. Well, it was another person's fault, but that person did pay for it.
I see. Their insurance covered it.
Yes.
The damage to her rental car.
Right.
Okay.
But if she was at fault, it would have covered it. The only thing it didn't cover were those additional fees. And we're talking about over $1,200 in fees.
And because her insurance didn't cover those additional fees, like loss of use, she ends up having to come out of pocket for that?
She did, yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's when you sign those agreements, when you rent out your car, you sign agreements saying, hey, I will pay for loss of use, diminished value, and administrative fees. You're just not looking at the agreement because it's in fine print, and there's pages of agreements, and you're on your way, to your destination. You want to get on that Hawaiian island. You don't want to sit here and look through documents. And so you sign it, and then that's the kind of consequence of that.
So her policy didn't cover that. Sometimes if you get hit and somebody is uninsured or underinsured, your insurance company will step in and make up that difference. We pay for that as well. So did her insurance company step in and cover any of that because she was, I guess, maybe essentially underinsured in some ways?
No, I mean, it paid for the damage to the rental car vehicle, and then the other guy's rental insurance reimbursed them is how it went, actually. But they didn't pay any of those fees. It refused to pay the loss of use. It refused to pay the diminished value, and then the administrative fee. And the reason for some of that is that the loss of use is, it's like you're asking your rental, your insurance to pay your car payment. If you get in a crash, you still have to make the car payment. So, they're saying, well, that's kind of akin to loss of use. Why should we have to pay?
Company.
Yeah. And then the other thing is the diminished value. How do you really calculate diminished value? You won't know what a car is worth after a crash until, I guess, when you sell it. So you're not really going to know at that moment what that car is worth. And so, the insurance company's like, I don't think we should have to pay this. It's hypothetical.
Okay. So lesson number 1 is know your own car insurance policy before you go to the rental counter to rent a car and know exactly what it covers. And did you find during your investigation that lots of insurance policies don't cover the diminished value and loss of use?
Not out of hand. I think there are 2 that will cover those fees, and we're talking maybe Liberty Mutual and Nationwide, if you have full coverage.
But make sure you check.
Yes. And then there are some that will cover sometimes if you buy like an additional policy rider. It's called use of non-owned vehicle rider. Some insurance car companies will offer that will cover those additional fees for rental vehicles.
What is that rider called again?
It's called use of non-owned vehicle, and they might term it something different with another insurance provider.
So you need to be specific when you call.
Oh, yes.
Like, I'm going to go rent a car, and I don't want to sign the waiver. And if I don't sign the waiver, will I be covered for all of these the administrative fees and loss of use? Wow.
How much does this insurance cost? So when they turn the iPad around and say, do you want this additional insurance, how much more per day is this going to cost me on average?
Well, it's going to add probably $25 to $40 a day that you rent that car. So it could add hundreds, to your final tab. But you won't be responsible for the loss of use. You won't be responsible for diminished value. You won't be, for the administrative fees. Or even you would be responsible for a deductible if you got in a crash with your own personal insurance. You would not be responsible for a deductible if you have signed the waiver.
What about our credit card? When we use our credit card, like if I use my Visa or my American Express to check out the car and rent the car, does that potentially kick in with some sort of coverage?
It does. If you use the credit card, first of all, to pay for the rental, and then secondly, some will pay for loss of use. I have a JetBlue MasterCard, and I looked at it, and it does pay for loss of use if I get in a collision with my rental car. It won't pay diminished value, so that you might have some cars that will pay for some of those fees or none of those fees or all of those fees. You just have to look at your credit card agreement before you take out of town.
So what you're saying is we have to get out our readers and look at all of the fine print.
Get out your readers or call. It might be on the website. Usually the website has general information, so you might need to call or look at the actual agreements and get those readers out.
Sloan, it almost sounds like in some ways, would you be better off being the person, like the one that crashed the car versus being crashed into? Well, where your insurance would step in and they would pay for all these things?
It's hard to say. I mean, the person that was responsible for the crash, he wasn't chased after for these fees. He didn't have an agreement with the rental company, so I don't think they could have gone after him.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like you'd be better off paying the $500 deductible versus how much did she end up paying with all her fees?
$1,256.
$1,200.
Right.
Yeah.
That is wild.
So back to our KSL5 television viewer and also tourist, Debbie, with the world's best name. Did she regret not getting that extra insurance coverage at the rental counter?
Kind of, sort of, because it did cost her $1,200 this time around. But she's been renting cars for years and years and years, and she's never had an incident, and she's never paid for the waivers, before, and she justifies, I've only had to pay this $1,200 once. I'm still ahead because I didn't buy the waiver every time.
Well, she sounds just like a Debbie. That's exactly how I would think.
Be calculating
this.
it.
I'm like, oh. Sloan, do you have time to stick around?
I do.
Good. Sloan Schrag from the KSL5 Investigative Unit walking down the hall from the KSL5 I-Team office to join us here in studio here at KSL News Radio to talk about rental car insurance. Like, should you or should you not take it when you're at the rental car counter? I always wrestle in my brain. I battle it out of my brain. Should I or shouldn't I? I think I've quite often declined it. Now I'm thinking I was lucky. I'm lucky. I've never been in a crash when I've had a rental car. So I don't even think I've ever been in a crash. 801-575-TALK. 801-575-TALK. Do you accept or do you have a tradition of declining the rental insurance that the rental car company offers you? How about you, Dave?
I always decline, but this has got me a little bit nervous.
I know.
I may be Ubering it from here on out.
801
like my rental days may be over, Deb.
All right, 801-575-TALK. Let's take your live calls next.
If your water heater's over 10 to 15 years old, congratulations. You've beat the average.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I love hearing stories of people having water heaters that are really old and they're still doing their job. Unfortunately, most of us won't be that lucky. And when water heaters fail, it's usually in spectacularly inconvenient fashion. Whether it's an unexpected cold shower when we're already running late for work, or worse yet, coming home to a flooded basement, it's never fun. If you'd like to look into replacing your water heater before it fails, Any Hour Services is having a sale for any homeowners listening. Whether you're looking for a new tanked water heater or you want to see what upgrading to a tankless would cost, the plumbers at Any Hour Services can show you what options are available. And right now, you can save $400 on a tanked water heater or $1,200 on a tankless. If you think you might be interested, call Any Hour Services today and schedule your free estimate. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
The movie show is at Minky Couture in Layton this Friday from 10 to 1. Check out all the new spring styles in time for Mother's Day. Visit minkycouture.com.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-917-4635, and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-917-4635. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-917-4635 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-917-4635.
Dave, and Dujanovic.
Yeah, I'm getting some food for thought. Heavy dose of it from Sloan Schrag of the KSL5 investigative team. He's talking about rental car insurance. Like when you're standing at the rental car counter, do you do what I do? Your brain is boxing itself to figure out, should I take the insurance coverage? I have my own car insurance. Should I decline it? 801-575-TALK. Do you or don't you?
I never, ever have gotten the insurance. I've always turned it down because I was under the impression that my insurance, and I talked to my agent about this, and my impression was that they take care of it, that I have that as part of my policy. And now it's all just up in the air. I don't know what is covered now.
And Sloan, that's exactly what happened to the KSL5 TV viewer that contacted you and Matt Gephardt, that, she ended up paying because of a fender bender that wasn't even her fault. But her car insurance, her own coverage, her personal coverage, didn't cover some of the fees that she was assessed.
Yeah, I mean, the damage was taken care of, but those fees just came out of nowhere, out of the blue. And, she fought back and forth as much as she can, but she ended up having to pay the rental company for those fees. It was over $1,200. Her insurance won't take care of it.
And those fees are very interesting. Anyone that has rented a car, you'll see, hey, you can get this car for $35 a day. But then you look at the fees, it's $65 total per day. And then if you add the insurance, it just creeps up, can be another $25, $30, $40 a day. But that peace of mind and the coverage, I think, is something that we may undervalue. This is somebody that got hit, wasn't her fault, she was blameless, but still, it cost her $1,200 to cover all the fees.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, I had an incident in Memphis, hit and run, and I had rented a car, and I had purchased a waiver because I rent a car like once a year. I mean, at most. I don't rent very often. And so I paid for that waiver, and it doubled the cost of my car rental. I mean, it was expensive. It was, I think it added $350 to my rental.
Wow.
However, when I got in that hit and run, all I had to do was turn the car into the rental agency. They gave me another car. I never heard another word about it ever again.
That was it.
That was it. I never heard anything about loss of use, never heard about diminished value, never heard about the administrative fees, nothing.
So signing that worked for you?
It worked for me. But again, I'm a guy that rents very rarely.
Doug, in West Jordan, it sounds like you rented a car in France using your American Express, and I'm all ears here because I've carried American Express for years, specifically for travel. You got in an accident there?
Not an accident. I was driving in France, and if you've ever driven in the little towns in France, the streets, the little streets are like 1.5 cars wide. So you're hugging the curb, the corner on the inside. Hugging the curb, I dinged up one of the wheels, and when I took it back to the rental location, they take pictures of everything. So they compared the wheels and said, "Oh, you've dented one of your wheels." So they charged me, I think it was like $560, and they said, "Go ahead and submit it to your American Express." And I was doubtful that anything would happen. I thought, there's no way. And my personal insurance is a $500 deductible, so I was pretty much written it off. But I submitted it to American Express, and like 2 weeks later, the American Express was credited for $560.
Well, there you go. So you used your credit card to rent that car.
Yes.
All right. We talked about that just a few minutes ago. Doug, thanks for sharing your story. We appreciate it. That sometimes your credit cards can cover some of your losses.
American Express, as I understand, is pretty generous when it has travel benefits. Now, when you're going overseas, it might be a little bit different. I'm not exactly sure. However, I will say that a credit card, if it offers benefits, someone will pay that deductible for you, or they'll pay those fees, the loss of use or the depreciated value. It just depends on your credit card. So you just need to look at it up before you take off.
Sloan Trigg is joining us right now from the KSL investigative team, and one of our callers is just joining the conversation. And as we're describing this, she says if she was hit by another person, they're at fault. Why wouldn't the company have to pay? Again, not her fault. Maybe you can recap a little bit the justification of why this lady had to pay these fees.
It's in the contract she signed when she rented her car. It says, "I will pay for loss of use, diminished value, and the administrative fee." And so the other driver never agreed to pay that. He didn't have a contract with the rental agency, and so they figured it was probably easier to go after her.
Yeah. And so the lesson here is if she would have paid extra for the waiver, likely, I mean, we don't know because that's not what happened here, but likely she wouldn't have owed that $1,256 for the administrative fee, the loss of use fee, and whatever other charges.
Yeah, the administrative fee, and she wouldn't have to pay a deductible. She wouldn't have to pay a tow charge, any of that stuff, that would be covered by that waiver.
So what the decision that I guess we have to make, first of all, we got to know what our own insurance, our own car insurance covers before we go assuming that it's going to cover us in a rental car. The second thing is like read the fine print on your contract with the rental car company to make sure you know exactly what is and is not covered.
That's true, and you should probably maybe assume that they're not going to cover those fees, that you'll be on the hook for those fees with most rental agencies. But yeah, you should read your contract.
But to be clear, their insurance, or the man who hit her, his insurance covered the damage, the actual physical damage to the car.
Yes, they reimbursed her insurance for the repair bill on that.
I wonder how much of this is going to change the way we travel when we start looking at this, and when you start unpeeling peeling back these layers. I didn't realize. Instead of a $350, it may be a $700 rental car fee. I look at this, Debbie, and I start asking myself, hey, have I got to change the way I travel right now? Do I need to use more public transportation? Use more Uber?
Yeah, I've done that already. And in fact, I'm going to be traveling soon, and I'm not going to be renting a car. But that's not a decision I made because of your story necessarily. Right. That is just how I have changed my travel habits over the years. I find it is easier to go without a car, unless I guess I'm tearing across Texas for some reason, where you need a car. There's a ton of public transit options available. Uber, Lyft, walking. I do a lot of walking. I was in D.C. several years ago, I believe for the station actually. KSL TV sent me to D.C. for a story, and didn't rent a car. I walked, and one day alone, I put 10 miles on my tennis shoes.
Wow, yeah.
10 miles, yeah.
It's a lot of steps.
It's a lot of steps. But it's truly though, if you go to some of these, like if you go to New York, if you go to D.C., where were you? Boston?
I was in Boston a couple weeks ago, and
guess what? Nowhere to park.
And just taking they have the T train, so easy to get around Boston without a car.
Yeah, that's how, it's the subway, it's the train systems, it's, I've taken buses. It all works out. And I like the freedom of not having a car. It's not only driving it around and making dozens of U-turns, trying to find that street I keep missing. Literally every time I go into a new city, I'm like, I don't know. I mean, even Apple Maps can't help me.
Right.
But it's parking it out of the hotel overnight.
Yeah, and hotels will charge a daily fee for parking, and so it just gets expensive.
And it's not in my sight, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen when it's out there overnight. So yeah, I'm a ride share kind of person now that I travel. So to your point, Dave, yeah, you got to think about that.
Sloan Schrag, thank you so much for joining us. Great story. You can follow all of Sloan and the investigative team, Matt Gephardt's stories at ksltv.com.
Straight ahead in the 11 o'clock hour, we are expecting a news conference regarding a referendum. And maybe some of you have been approached in parking lots. I know I was one day to sign a referendum, or there was some signature gathering going on regarding a referendum that the teachers union in particular, wants to put to a vote. I declined the signature, of course, because I'm in the media and I don't sign those types of things, but I know it sounds like tens of thousands of people did. So we are going to be getting an update on that situation next, expecting a live news conference. Where's that news conference happening, Caitlin? Is that on Capitol Hill that they're expecting? Salt Lake County building any moment now. So we'll be going there live in the 11 o'clock hour.
The murder of two men forces their families to wrestle with impossible questions. Who is forgiveness for? Does everyone deserve a second chance? Follow Season 2 of The Letter, Ripple Effect, at theletterpodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, folks, I've been telling you guys for years about my Kinetico water softener and how it uses 2/3 less salt than other water softeners, but I've never told you exactly how this works. Well, there are several ways, so consider this. This is part 1 of the series. Most softeners use a finicky, hard-to-adjust computer, and it guesstimates when to cycle, and then it errs on the side of cycling too often, which means it burns through too much salt way too soon. Kinetico is different. It has an all-mechanical system that measures water use precisely, no computer, no guessing, so it cycles only when needed. The result is Kinetico delivers perfectly soft water 24/7, uses minimal salt. Why not save your lower back from carrying 3 bags of salt, and all you need is one? Call Northern Utah's authorized Kinetico dealer, Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, now at 801-576-8600. That's 801-576-8600. Or you can log on to softwaterutah.com and let them know that Dave sent you.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
If you're ready to buy a home or sell a home and you're worried about the current real estate market because of what you've heard from some of your friends or family, well, we're here to tell you that you really shouldn't be worried, because now is a great time to buy and sell with our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
And here's why. Buyers have more options due to increased inventory, which gives them the power to negotiate for repairs, interest rate buy-downs, and closing cost assistance. While at the same time, sellers are still getting top dollar for their homes, with home values that are higher today than ever before. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, the current real estate market presents a win-win opportunity for both buyers and sellers.
But you still do want to make sure that you're working with a team of real estate experts you can trust that can get you some great results. And that's our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
They have helped thousands of Salt Lake City homeowners, and they're ready to help you. To get started, just go to thesternteam.com. That's thesternteam.com, or Google The Stern Team.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio,
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Heather Kelly. KSL's top local story this hour. One person has died following a cargo truck accident at the Salt Lake City Airport.
From what we can gather right now, a box truck was backing up to go into one of the loading docks, and an individual walked behind that truck and was struck by the truck and ultimately died of injuries from that.
Salt Lake City Police Detective Michael Ruff says this happened around 6:30 this morning in the Delto cargo lot. He says the driver of the truck is cooperating, and at this point they believe this was an unfortunate accident. A 9-year-old boy is in the hospital this morning after police say he was hit while either riding or walking a scooter across a street in Roy. This happened around 4400 South, 1900 West, near the Ogden Airport. Police are investigating to see if the driver ran a red light, and charges are pending. We're awaiting an update on the boy's condition. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Consumers are still spending despite an unstable economy.
In fact, say analysts, concern over U.S. trade policies is likely sending more consumers into the marketplace before new tariffs on imported goods take effect. The Census Bureau says its advance estimate on retail sales in March showed a dramatic 1.4% increase from the previous month at a massive 4.6% surge from March of 2024.
That's ABC's Jim Ryan reporting. Your money at this moment, all the markets are in the red. The NASDAQ has fallen almost 400 points. Coming up, scattered rain and snow showers possible. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Delegate the work and chores and navigate your way to Beatty, Nevada, and elevate your springtime level of adventure, where daytime temperatures average 70 degrees and the dark night skies are awe-inspiring. Visit Beatty for your spring break, where you can explore hundreds of miles of scenic trails, perfect for hiking, mountain biking, and ATV adventures. Explore the historic ghost town of Rhyolite, view sculptures in the desert at the Goldwell Open Air Museum, and visit Eddie World, Nevada's largest candy store. Beatty is 7 miles from the most scenic entrance to Death Valley National Park, offers award-winning chili at the Happy Burro Chili, or Old Family Recipe Ribs smoked daily at Smokin' Jay's. Find affordable lodging at the Stagecoach Hotel or the Atomic Inn, known for its quirky alien theme. Beatty RV Parks also offer 50-amp pull-throughs. Make a visit on April 26 for the annual Off-Road Poker Run. Details at BeattyNevada.org.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-917-4635, and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-917-4635. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-917-4635 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-917-4635.
Are you looking to find more fairways, hit more greens, and lower your scores? Then a custom golf club fitting from a Shields certified master fitter is your answer. Learning from the world's top fitters at Titleist Performance Institute, Callaway Performance Center, and the Ping Proving Grounds, we're equipped to fit you with the right clubs to make your game more consistent. Go to shields.com/expert fitting to schedule a custom fitting today.
Watch Utah Hockey Club games anytime, anywhere with Utah HC Plus, the official streaming platform for your Utah Hockey Club. See games, replays, highlights, and unbelievable behind-the-scenes content of your favorite team for just $14.99 a month. Sign up and start watching today at UtahHCPlus.com. That's UtahHCPlus.com.
Right now, water heaters are on sale at Any Hour Services. Schedule a free estimate today to see how much you'll save. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account with built-in benefits. Traffic is moving well on the I-15 corridor. No accidents reported in Utah, Salt Lake, or Davis counties. All the earlier delays we had up at 12th Street in Ogden, from a train stuck on the tracks to traffic light issues down in Utah County coming out of Eagle Mountain, Saratoga Springs, seem to have eased themselves out. Create your floral sanctuary with Olson's Greenhouse, locally grown, premium quality flowers to complement porches, patios, and containers. Don't miss Olson's Container Fest Saturday, April 26th at all Home Depots. Details at ogg.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center. And your weather, rain moves into northern Utah this evening and sticks around through Friday with a chance of snow on the benches. The high goes from 74 today to 50 by the weekend. Right now, it's 63 and cloudy. I'm Heather Kelly from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
You've probably been approached in parking lots. I know I was at one point, and it's all in a effort to collect signatures to get a referendum on the ballot regarding what was known during the legislative session as, and I'll give you the numbers, but we'll get into the details of what this means, HB 267. And it turned out that HB 267 was one of the most controversial pieces of legislation debated on Utah's Capitol Hill, drawing very, very large crowds during the hearings that were held about this legislation.
It really has to do with collective bargaining.
Yeah.
Now, many of us may not understand what is collective bargaining. How does it work? Collective bargaining, I'll use it in basketball terms because this is a very popular way. The NBA, for example, all the players, they have a union. It's a players' union. And they negotiate with the owners in the NBA, and they figure out what are minimum salaries, what are maximum salaries, what's the salary cap, and they go back and forth. They work collectively as players to negotiate the best terms of their contract in the NBA, and the owners are trying to, push back and get concessions. Well, we have something similar that happens here in Utah. There is collective bargaining that happens. It doesn't happen all the time. In fact, Senate President Stuart Adams said there's only one fire department and one police department in Utah that even use collective bargaining. Not that labor unions don't have influence and power, but when it actually comes down to it, it's not necessarily these labor unions that they're knocking out the details of collective bargaining.
We talk about it in terms of teachers too, though.
Right.
It impacting teachers as well. There will be in just a few minutes a news conference from the county building on 21st South, I believe. Yeah, 21st South at State Street. And we're going to be taking you there live. It's a coalition called Protect Utah Workers. They say they're going to be delivering boxes and in their words, according to their own press release, and boxes of petition signatures to the Salt Lake County Clerk's office. It's part of their statewide referendum effort to get HB 267 on the ballot. We spoke quite extensively on our show about House Bill 267 with Representative Jordan Tusher, who threw his support behind it.
The problem that you have is that in a lot of cases, they represent a minority of teachers, firefighters, police, whatever it may be. And so when a union only represents 30% of the members of that class, but they get to negotiate for all of them, that seems like a problem. So all this bill did is say we're not going to have the government only negotiate with unions.
The question I would have is, okay, then who are they negotiating with? Is it going to be the individual teachers? Are the teachers going to be able to go in there and negotiate? Will it all be completely and totally individualized, where every single teacher is going to have to negotiate their own salary structure and their payment, their schedule? Or is there strength in going together as a unified body and negotiating this?
And will they have enough signatures when all is said and done to actually get this on the ballot, to put it to a vote? I spoke earlier this morning before the show with Cole Kelly. He's a teacher in the Alpine School District and also a member of the Utah State Board of Education. I want to make it very clear. When I spoke to him this morning, we recorded this conversation at about 8:15 before the show. He told me flat out he's not representing either the Utah State Board of Education nor the school district for which he works when he's talking about this matter. He's talking about this independently. But he is very much in support of HB 267, and I asked him to explain why.
I've been teaching for 28 years, and I'm a conservative school teacher. I have on several occasions tried to express, frustration with some of the decisions that are being made by the union and what they're advocating for. When you join your local association, you don't just join your local association, you also join the UEA and the NEA. And your membership dollars are going towards supporting the political causes that they're pushing and they're pursuing. And when I look at what the UEA and what the NEA stand for and what they're advocating for, I don't think it represents Utah and Utah values. And so I've been very vocal and very adamant about, the monopoly that the union has on the voice for teachers in Utah. And so I think this bill does a tremendous job of allowing more voices to be heard, more teachers' voices to be heard in education, and not just those of the union.
And there are around 30,000 teachers. There's more than 30,000 teachers here in Utah. Not all of them belong to the union.
Right.
Not all of them are members of the UEA.
So I guess the question is, do they have enough signatures? We'll find that out in just a few minutes submitted. But beyond the number of signatures, I believe it was 141,000 signatures that were needed to be gathered. They'll have to be validated as well. So they'll need to be, confirmed. And that will take a bit of a process. But in a few minutes, we will be hearing live during this news conference from those who would like to see HB 267 put on the ballot and put to a vote. I went on to talk to Mr. Kelly about, he feels like this is actually going to end up on the ballot. So I asked him about that. He feels like, they might have enough signatures.
I highly anticipate that it will end up on the ballot, and my biggest hope is that we're honest about the debate and honest about the discussion. My fear is that significant amounts of dollars will be coming in from outside of Utah on a Utah issue. The NEA has already contributed $2.3 million to the referendum, and I believe they're just getting started. And so I think that you're going to see a lot of outside money influence this Utah election, and I just hope that we
take you live right now to the Salt Lake County building to listen in live to a news conference from those who have been out gathering signatures who are in support of getting HB 267 put to a vote by getting it on the ballot.
Wages and better working conditions for ourselves and our families, and advocate for the communities we serve. So we did what public workers always do. We showed up and we got the job done. We showed up by the hundreds in committee hearings at the Capitol. We showed up by the thousands to rally in the rotunda and gather signatures for this referendum. Today, it is my honor to announce that we have just submitted over 320,000 signatures. Let me say it again. 320,000 signatures in just 30 days. For my students who will definitely be solving this in the story problem tomorrow, that averages out to almost 11,000 signatures every single day. I'm going to start crying. I apologize. We are on track to becoming not only the most successful citizen-led referendum in Utah history, but one of the most successful in our nation's history. Wow. I'm used to teaching history, but today we're out here making it because we turn frustration into action and action into results. 320,000 in 30 days. I can't stop saying it. We didn't just meet our goal, we doubled it. That number matters. It matters because it represents voices from across our great state. It represents everyday Utahns who care about their neighbors, who just want strong, safe communities for their kids to grow up in. It represents working families standing side by side in loving support of one another, and it elevates the voices of hundreds of thousands of Utahns who are saying, we want to vote on whether public workers get to keep their seat at the table. 320,000 in just 30 days. You know, my favorite part about that number, it should have been impossible. All right? We should not be here. And it was only possible thanks to the support of the public. This isn't just a win for public workers. This is a win for all Utahns. Politicians came after public workers, and the public got to work. Across the state, everyday Utahns put on their boots, they grabbed their clipboards and their pens, and marched out into snowstorms, spring rains, and sunshine to either sign the referendum or gather these signatures. They stood outside grocery stores, they knocked on doors, and let everyone know that now's our time to take care of the heroes who take care of us. This isn't about politics, this is about people. So thank you. Thank you to every volunteer, every supporter, every person who said, yeah, I'll help. I'll take care of you. You made this possible. You empowered the people. And now the people of Utah will get to decide what kind of state we're going to be. Thank you. Now it's my honor to welcome up Jessica Stauffer, a nurse with the Utah Care Workers.
Hi everyone, I'm Jessica Stauffer. I'm president of CWA 7765, and I'm a registered nurse. Today, I stand here joyful, proud, and determined. This is a celebration of what is possible when workers and communities get together. But this is also a promise. We are just getting started. Let me tell you why this fight of collective bargaining matters to me. As a registered nurse in Utah, I have spent my career caring for people, often on their worst days. I have held the hands of patients and families in pain. I have fought for protective equipment when supplies were short. And I have stood up for safer hospital conditions, not just for my patients, but for my coworkers beside me, who show up every day to care for those needing help. House Bill 267 is a blatant attack to silence us. It chips away at our fundamental rights, stripping power from the workers who keep Utah's public services running. And let's be honest, House Bill 267 is really the pet project of some deeply out-of-touch legislators who completely ignored their own constituents. House Bill 267 is wildly unpopular, and the public spoke out very loudly. But the legislator ignored us. The governor shrugged and signed it into law anyway. So you know what we did? We took it to the people, and the people in just 30 days showed up. Now let me be clear, this is just step one. There are people out there already trying to scare supporters, trying to confuse them, trying to convince them to remove their names. Don't fall for it. If you signed the petition, keep your name. If you believe in nurses, teachers, first responders, and public workers, stand with us. We are ready for the next fight, and we will win. The power is in the people. And the people of Utah, we are strong, we are united, and we are just getting warmed up. Up next, we have Kevin Murray, President of the Utah State Fraternal Order of Police.
Thank you all for being here. Today we celebrate the tremendous progress we've made in gathering signatures for the referendum. I am Kevin Murray, President of the Utah Fraternal Order of Police, and I am also a police officer who this bill harms. As a police officer, I'm often thanked for my service, and it's always a humbling reminder of how deeply our community cares for public safety. But today I have the honor of turning that gratitude around and thanking all of you. On behalf of police officers across the state of Utah, I want to thank you for your service. You've given your time, your energy, and most importantly, your voice. You've stood with us, not just in principle, but in action. Together, our voices have carried a powerful message to the sponsors and supporters of House Bill 267. You are not representing the best interests of public employees or your constituents. As signers of this referendum, you have given us the ability to speak on behalf of the line officers, the ones who risk their lives daily protecting our streets. You have given us a voice to communicate to the leaders of our communities the needs of the officers and to entice the best police officers in the nation to serve your communities. As the Fraternal Order of Police, we are able to show value to the lives of those doing the job, not by budgets on a sheet. By signing this referendum, you have become a partner in building a safer Utah. This bill, in one form or another, has surfaced in the last 3 legislative sessions. But the groundswell of support we've seen during this signature gathering event makes one thing clear. This community stands united, and we will be heard. To the legislators who have supported this bill, we ask this simple question. Will you support the community, or will you support the fringes that have advocated for this unpopular bill that stands ready to harm our public servants? We hope you see the damage that you have caused by passing this bill and correct it once and for all. Thank you for your continued support.
So in the last few
Together,
minutes, you've heard
we're
from
not
their
just
police
protecting
officer
our
representing the Fraternal Order of Police, a nurse, and also a school teacher. They're speaking live right now at the Salt Lake County Government Center there on 21st South and State after submitting what they said was 320,000 petition signatures gathered in the last, span of 30 days?
Yeah, 30 days. About 11,000 signatures a day.
And they need to have 141,000 of those signatures verified, and there's some Senate district math involved in all of that, and we'll let our newsroom sort through that. But in the meantime, the question is will there be enough verified signatures to actually get this on the ballot? HB 267, which is the collective bargaining bill that passed the legislature during this last session, that was quite controversial.
And if you're wondering why in the world would they gather so many signatures, why would you gather 320,000 signatures when you only need 141,000? That's because you can only obviously be counted once. If you sign that petition 2 or 3 times at 2 or 3 different locations when people were coming up to you, that only gets counted once. So you've got to be a registered voter. You've got to be, obviously, you can only be counted once. So when you gather that many more, you're just building a very big buffer to make sure that you fall within that threshold of 141,000.
As the news conference continues, our team of reporters and producers in the newsroom are keeping their eyes and ears on it. We also have Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio, out there live, standing by to bring us a full report at noon at the top of the hour. Straight ahead, just found out that 38 years old became the new 25 when it comes to buying your first home. We're going to sort through that straight ahead.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Hit it.
It's time to spring into summer with Soda Weight Loss, because right now you'll get our biggest discount of the year.
Are you serious?
Yeah!
Just 3 weeks in, and the pounds are dropping off very quickly. I am down 26 pounds in 3 weeks.
Every single day, Soda Weight Loss is helping people let go of the weight without drugs, without hunger, and the weight stays off.
I let go of 50 pounds. It felt unreal. I was so proud of myself. My body did exactly what it wanted to do. I just gave it its tools.
Let's spring into summer right now with Soda Weight Loss. If you want to look like this for summer, now is the time to join America's #1 weight loss company for client satisfaction and results.
Remember, this is our best offer of the year, so let's go.
Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, Junior Hot and Crispy Fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Spring is the perfect time to refresh your home. And Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning is here to help. Right now, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned, plus a free hallway for just $119. And for a whole home refresh, take 20% off upholstery cleaning. Unlike traditional cleaners, Zero Res uses patented ZR water, a powerful cleaning solution that lifts dirt and grime without harsh chemicals or detergents. That means your carpets and upholstery stay cleaner, longer, and dry in hours, not days. It's safe for kids, pets, and the environment. Plus, every cleaning comes with the Zero Res Gotta Love It guarantee. If you're not completely satisfied, Zero Res will re-clean for free within 30 days. Don't miss out on these limited time offers because spring cleaning starts now. Get started today at zerores.com and mention KSL to lock in your deal. That's zerores.com.
My name is Tom.
My name is Cindy.
We give to and volunteer with United Way at our community free health clinic.
We know our time and money are going to the right places.
We don't just wear the shirt.
We live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Jeff Kaplan. I'm energized by breaking news. First of all, because it's right now, and second of all, because in many cases the audience needs to know. There's no more important service that we can provide, and I find it critically important to get more details to the audience as quickly as possible. There's nothing more energizing than that for me. Not at all. The most important thing we do is breaking news. I am gratified that so many people listen to me every afternoon on KSL, but what they don't know is that there are so many people behind the scenes making it happen, checking on the traffic, answering the phones, making the calls, talking to the newsmakers. They're out in the street, into the field to get the raw information, and then putting it all together so that I can sit in front of a microphone and be a source of information every afternoon. But there are so many people who make it happen. That's what you don't know.
Ride Home with Jeff Kaplan, weekdays 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott. KSL's top story this hour. Police have released more information on what led up to a double homicide at Salt Lake City Hotel yesterday.
Salt Lake City police say this all stemmed from a payment dispute in a commercial sex exchange. In an update late last night, police say one of the women they arrested was in contact with a person staying at the Comfort Inn hotel room and called 2 men to the hotel as security when they tried to get the payment, and police say one of those men had a gun. Investigators say one of the women arrested and 2 men forced their way into the hotel room and assaulted the tenant. Details of what happened next are hazy, but police say the 2 men who forced their way in were shot and died from their injuries. The shooter has not been arrested, but police say they are also not releasing their name at this time. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. A federal judge has ruled that the Trump administration acted in contempt of court for defying the order to turn around 2 planes carrying alleged Venezuelan gang members to El Salvador.
Even though we expect the Trump administration to resist this contempt finding, they will challenge it, they will likely appeal it. It will likely go back to the U.S. Supreme Court. Every indication I have seen is that the Supreme Court will stand by Judge Boasberg if it gets there.
The judge calling the Trump administration's actions a mockery of the Constitution. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 398 points, the S&P is down 83. And coming up, breezy 70s. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:31.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
If you're thinking about losing some weight, let me tell you about Salt Lake City Fat Loss. I kind of love the name. Fat loss, that's the key. That's where they are focused on. They told me that you can lose a pound of fat per day on the Salt Lake City Fat Loss program, and I thought that there's no way. There's no way you could see that kind of result. But sure enough, that's exactly what I saw. 57 pounds in 60 days is what I lost on the Salt Lake City Fat Loss program. And it kept me motivated, right? When you're seeing such great results, you stay motivated. When you pay for a program, you stay motivated. You're not cheating if you're paying for something. So if you're interested, go ahead and reach out to them. Right now, there's a great deal going on, an extra $200 off the program. Just go ahead and reach out and say, hey, I want the spring special, $200 off with Salt Lake City Fat Loss. So the website, easy. You can get a free consultation. Go to slcfatloss.com. That's slcfatloss.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account with built-in benefits. Here's Heather Kelly.
We've got a crash northbound I-15 in Orem. It's just before you get to the Center Street exit. Now, it had been blocking 3 left lanes that UHP just reopened 2 of the lanes, so just the HOV lane and left shoulder are blocked at this time. But traffic is at a crawl, and it's backed up to University Parkway in Orem, so that's going to take you extra time to get through. The good news is the rest of your commute is in pretty good shape. No other delays on I-15 either direction, and you've got a good commute coming out of Tooele County on SR 36, I-80, and the 201 freeway. If you see something on the roads we haven't mentioned, let us know on the KSL Mountain Home Services text line at 57500. Advanced Window Products offer Graber window coverings, high-end quality with the best warranty. Save 30% off when you mention KSL. AdvancedWindows.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high of 73 with a bit of breeze today. Rain moves in overnight and continues through tomorrow with temperatures falling to the 50s. Right now it is 63 and mostly cloudy. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Dave, thanks to our friends at the Deseret News. I just found out this morning when I woke up that 25 is the new, 38 is the new 25 when it comes to buying your home for the first time. Because I say that because I was actually 25 when I bought my first home. Now, folks are older than ever when they're buying their first home. 38 years old.
That is so sobering. I mean, that is really disheartening. I would be frustrated because I was not 25, but I was 26 when I bought my first. It's 25 light.
You could do it then.
Yeah.
Right? Homes for $150,000. The first home I bought, it was a condo, great condo, and in a great neighborhood. It's like $70,000. Maybe a little less. When I saw this article this morning, I just so wanted to go digging through my, 40-year-old box of paperwork to remember what I paid exactly for that thing and how much my payment was. I was scared then to take on that kind of debt. 'Cause I'd been a renter since I was in college. I was just used to leasing apartments. That's how I lived. I leased. I remember the closer, the lender called me the morning. I was like, "You're late." I'm like, I'm too nervous to show up and sign the document. He's like, get over here. I mean, you put down a deposit.
You got money down, friend.
Yeah, you're committed, right? The inspections have been done. Everything's, locked up here. You just have to sign. I can't imagine what it would feel like going into my 30s if I was scared at $70,000, hanging over my head. What I would feel like if somebody said, "Oh, no, it's $600,000 that's hanging over your head."
Yeah. I do wonder on some level if there's a little bit of relief when you hear that the average age is 38 years old. If we remove some of the pressure on ourselves to get into a house, like, oh, you should be in a house already, when no, I'll wait till I'm almost 40, or that's the expectation, and I'm going to save up. I'm going to make sure I have a stable career and a stable job. I have a little better idea of where we are as a family before I start investing in the biggest purchase of my entire life.
And I think we should realize we should not be living backwards. Like in our minds, well, I mean, you were too young to remember the 80s. I remember the 80s, and I remember high interest rates back then, and even homes back then were, $60,000, $70,000 in some cases, maybe even less. Now we have home ownership by age 30. Only a third of Americans own a home by age 30. Compared to 47% in 1984. So that gap has widened. In the 80s, when things were much more affordable, I felt like incomes back then were more on par with what a home would cost. Now, I mean, you talk about the median income is $60,000 a year for an individual here in Utah. but the median home price is $550,000.
Right.
Well, back then you could say, I don't know what the median income was, but even if you were making $20,000 a year, and a home was $60,000, bam! I mean, you're in it, right? You could qualify for it. You could justify the payment. Well, now, I mean, at $600,000 plus interest rates, I saw that they climbed maybe right around 7% again this week. I don't know where they're at today, but let's face it, they're up there. They're not the 3% that so many people locked in at years and, during the, 6 years ago. It's driving up the, average monthly payment to, it's unaffordable.
There's a little bit of aha moment for me when I look at this 38 as being the time you buy your first home. Like 38, that does sound way later in life than I had expected. But I also wonder how much of this is playing into the fact that we are a little bit stubborn on where we want to live and how much we're going to pay for a house, or what our expectation is.
Yeah.
Are we willing to buy? You mentioned these homes back in the good old day,
right,
that the average home was half the size, or maybe 2/3 the size that they are now. So it was more affordable when it's a smaller home. It doesn't cost as much. Are we willing to live away from these big areas? When my parents first bought their house in Kaysville, that was significantly, that was 30 minutes away from Salt Lake. Right now, Kaysville has blown up, and Layton and some of these areas have grown enormously. But are we willing to move farther and farther away like the good old days? No, we want to live downtown. We want a big home. We want all of these things. Well, that is in part why we have to wait until we're 38 to buy a home, is because we want a checklist of all the things we want in a home instead of saying, I'm going to buy a tiny home.
I disagree with you. I think homes are largely unaffordable. And if you get, into a home, you got to look around and say, okay, when's the last time they updated this thing?
But why are they unaffordable?
Well, we don't have enough supply. We've been talking about that for quite some time. That's one of the reasons why they're unaffordable. There's not enough supply along the Wasatch Front. The governor's been working on that and getting new starter homes built. That takes time. We don't, have interest rates at 2.5% or 3% anymore. Those days are in the rearview mirror. So that drives up the cost. And so I think people are having some heartburn. They may even having a hard time qualifying for a home. That's why a lot of what's happening. When a home goes on the market for $600,000 or $700,000, and then on top of it, it needs a ton of work. It's people just don't. Dave, we're not rolling around in our riches.
Well, I would argue if you take a 1,600 square foot home, which is what it was in the 80s, that's the average home, and you put it in Tremonton, you're not paying $500,000 for that home. You're paying $300,000 for that home, or $350,000 when you live further away in a smaller home. But our expectation is, I've got to have a bigger home. I've got to be closer to work. I've got to be closer to downtown.
Tremont's an hour and a half, and I guess it's an hour and a half. I haven't been there in a hot minute, but I mean, I have people that people who live in Nephi, and it's a haul in, and they live there because they like it. They like being off the Wasatch Front, but it's a long drive. Not everybody. When you've got daycare situations going on and you're working downtown Salt Lake City, it just doesn't. Not everybody fits neatly into this box of, we can just move. Just move to Wendover, find a 1,600 square foot home, because that's the distance of Tremonton, and then you've got kids to pick up in daycare. And if you've ever had kids in daycare, I have. They start charging you by the minute for every minute you're late. Or if you're stuck downtown, which I have been in a snowstorm, and have to get a hotel, and then you can't get home, or your significant other can't make it home, or it's not everybody fits in that box. And so I think there just needs to be a variety. I mean, there's just a variety of different people live in all different ways. And I think the reason that we're seeing this is because people either don't want to live with tremendous debt hanging over their heads. They don't want to make a $5,000 a month mortgage payment for 30 years. Who can blame them? Maybe they're skittish about the job market. There's been a lot of layoffs and firings in the last several months. Maybe they're nervous about that. And it's expensive to own a home. Maybe they find solace in renting. It just works out better for them.
No, I get it. I also look at what homes cost here in Utah and what they cost in other states across the nation.
Right. You were looking at Detroit.
Yeah. In Detroit, you can buy a home for half the cost, right? If you were going to get a 1,600 square foot home in Detroit, you'd be under $200,000. Right. But again, we want to live where we want to live. We want to have the commute that we want. And when you start tacking all these things on top of each other, then it's no surprise that we're paying a premium. And there's no surprise that we have to wait till we're 38 to buy a home. Some of this is self-imposed. When we have all these things that we want, that we have to check off our box, then you can't be surprised that you're going to pay a premium for it and perhaps not buy that first home until you're 38.
Straight ahead, Maria says spring is a great time to reset our brains. She's in studio with us next to explain. Maria Chaleos up next with us.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Hank's Garage is a premier event venue where vintage charm meets modern elegance. They feature classic cars, exposed steel beams, and aged brickwork, creating a truly unique atmosphere. Even if you don't like cars, you'll love this place. Owner and operator Wes Johnson joins us with more.
Hank's Garage is a very cool new venue located in North Salt Lake, only 10 minutes from downtown Salt Lake City and even closer to the International Airport. Our prime location ensures easy access for local and out-of-town guests as we are very conveniently located with absolutely no traffic, unlimited free parking, and unmatched privacy. We feature over 60 meticulously maintained classic and vintage vehicles on display. The gleaming chrome, polished leather, and historic charm create an atmosphere like no other. Beyond the cars, Hank's Garage is a turnkey, all-inclusive event center, meaning there's no additional charge for tables, chairs, PA systems, stages, risers, photo booths, parking, or anything else. The only things that are not included are any food, alcohol, or bartenders. So come out and see for yourself. Tours of Hank's Garage are welcomed and completely free of charge. Learn more on our website, hanksgaragevenue.com.
Whether you're planning a wedding, corporate event, or private party, Hank's Garage provides a one-of-a-kind space to impress your guests. Contact them today to see why they are one of the top-rated event venues near Salt Lake City. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Make Mother's Day easy this year and get the best gift ever, a blanket from Minky Couture. Minky Couture creates the amazingly soft, comfy, and cozy Minky blankets and robes. Just in time for Mother's Day, save 50% off any regularly priced Minky Couture blanket using promo code KSL50 at checkout. Shop online at minkycouture.com or visit your local Minky Couture for special neighborhood deals. Again, save 50% with promo code KSL50 in stores or online at minkycouture.com.
Teens can get up to $200 with a Teen Learn and Earn account. Plus, continue earning rewards as they master the essentials of finance. More at cypresscu.com/teen.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Maria Chaleos says now is a good time. Spring's a great time to hit the reset button and renew ourselves. And I couldn't agree with her more. She's the host of Let's Get Moving with Maria. She also, of course, you are one of the voices of KSL News Radio, Maria. But I'm excited to talk to you about these mental health. Yeah, it is. You have all been forever. We've known each other forever. We go way back to the 90s.
We do.
Yeah.
You know, you think of spring and you think of spring cleaning, making your life better,
I just did
decluttering, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But really, you should be thinking about putting yourself first. What can you do to reset your own personal life mentally and physically? And, really start the summer off right. I had join me on the podcast Aaron Hunt. He's a Utah State University Extension Health and Wellness Specialist, doctor, very smart guy. And USU has come up with 30 tips. I'm not going to give you all 30 tips of how to reset, but you can look them up, USU Extension, 30 easy tips to help refresh your mind and body this spring. But there are a few that we just really need to take personally, and the first one is going to be digital detox.
Dave needs this.
How much time do you spend on your phone
Look in the mirror,
all day
friend.
long?
I think we probably all need it. What does digital detox look like?
It looks like scheduling some regular tech-free times in your day, in your week to recharge and just reconnect with the physical world.
Yeah, we all do need Dave. You're right. One of my, I have talked about being in therapy. I go like once a month now. And we talked about digital detox a couple of sessions ago because I am just sick and tired of being sick and tired of having my phone in my hand. And he's like, start putting your phone down for a nap every day. Like literally, like you would go lay down for a nap. Instead, put your phone down, put it in the corner, set it away, out of reach. If your kids are calling, it's all hooked up to your Apple Watch anyway. You can see it light up on your Apple Watch. And that has been awesome. I've loved disconnecting from the device that captivates me too much.
Especially in news. I mean, how many notifications do you get in an hour that are just completely ridiculous? So just scheduling that time to take that time for yourself. This is the one I really have to work on. Setting boundaries and saying no. I have a really hard time saying no. So this is the one that I am going to work on. It really talks about, creating those clear boundaries to protect your mental energy. Because after you say yes and yes and yes, you don't leave any space for yourself, and then you just deplete that energy.
Love
so
that
that's
one.
another big one.
That's great.
I know one that's going to hit home for you.
What is it?
Sleep.
Oh, so so that's so funny because the last couple of nights I slept. I had like 7.5 hours sleep on Sunday night. It was like woohoo, and then the night before last night, I had like 6 hours. And you know how much I slept last night? 2.
What?
I'm on 2 hours of sleep.
Okay,
I
are
don't know
you
what it
creating a calming bedtime routine?
Yes.
Are you turning off all the devices? Are you combating negative thinking?
Yes.
Here's some things. It is so important. Like, after you've had no sleep, just how you don't have that mental clarity.
Yeah,
it just
I agree.
really affects not just your attitude, but
I agree.
But your decision making, your reaction time.
Yeah. I mean, I can sustain like one night a week of that because I've done this my entire adult life. But there's a couple of weeks when I just can't help it. It's 2 hours a night. Then the next night I'm like, oh, I'll really sleep 8 hours tonight. And then I get a whopping 3.5 hours.
Wow.
I'm doing better though. I will say it's improved a lot. And yes, to your bedtime routine, I've painted my room a dark color to make it look like really, really kind of dark in my room. And I get in bed early. I try to keep my devices away, but if I wake up in the middle and I'm just laying there, my doctor did say, get up and actually do something. Stop frustrating yourself by trying to force yourself to go to sleep. Get up and actually
That's
do
actually
something
what I do.
really
I just start
mundane.
and do whatever's bugging me.
Clean a drawer.
Whatever it is.
Clean a drawer.
Dave's just laughing. He
Clean
just
your
sleeps
closet.
through
I
the
have
night.
no
Doesn't
idea
have
what
any
you're talking
Do you sleep
about.
through the night over there?
Absolutely.
What?
Yeah.
Do you ever get jolted awake for any reason?
Never.
Like, kids are like, Dad, I've got a sore throat.
Oh, they could be, Dad, I'm not breathing. I'd be like, good luck, Mom.
I think moms sleep super lightly. I know that I was a sound sleeper till I had children, and then I sleep really lightly. You're listening for every sound, right? And I think that just carries on through the rest of your life.
Yeah,
You sleep lightly.
Trained.
Yeah, it's difficult. Okay, what else you got? I love these tips,
Okay,
Maria.
so let's not focus on the negative.
I know.
Try not to focus on the negative because
you're right. Good.
There is so much negative happening all around us all the time, and we really need those positive affirmations about ourselves. So stop thinking about the fact that you're overweight or you're not smart enough. Think about those things that you're really good at. And pick out at least 1 or 2 of those a day and say, hey, I'm a really great mom.
Oh, that's so good.
Instead of saying,
That's
my
so
house
good.
isn't clean, think, oh, you know what? I'm a great mom. I'm making those connections with my children. Picking just those positive things. At work, I really know how to treat my team members with respect and contribute to the team rather than I just can't seem to beat all the deadlines. Try to focus on those positive things.
I love all of that. And we can catch that on your podcast.
Okay.
Let's get moving with Maria, right?
Right. I want to say one thing.
Of course. Say as
before
much
we
as you
end
want.
here.
You got like 4 more minutes.
Okay.
And
Well,
then-
there are some physical things.
Okay, go for it.
So look at us right here. We're all sitting.
I
Take
know.
some movement breaks.
Okay.
This can make a huge difference
I love that.
physically if you take some movement breaks. So it's not just about getting exercise, but if you spend a lot of time sitting each day, get up every couple of hours, walk around, just kind of, that even refreshes your mind, honestly. What were some other things?
I would say get outside. So I
Get outside is huge.
So yesterday, my daughter and I walked outside at about 7:00 at night, and I realized I hadn't been outside all day. I drove from my garage to the newsroom, parked in the parking garage, walked in the newsroom, walked to the parking garage at 2:30 or 3:00, drove home, parked in my garage. I watched the Mariners game, and then we walked to the mailbox, and that was the extent of my outside fun yesterday. And I was like, that can't be.
Can I speak to the outside thing
Sure.
for just a minute? Because I remember I became a jogger for a hot minute. I don't know what in the world I was thinking, but I remember I would not give myself any excuse to not run. Didn't matter how bad the weather was. I was training in the winter and the spring, so it didn't matter if it was snowing. It didn't matter if it was raining. And I'll never forget, we had one of those huge east wind storms that was just coming in. I'm like, I'm still running. And it was the most fun I ever had running because I'm jogging and being blown all over the place. And I think
you called that fun?
It was, oddly enough, it was so much.
It was invigorating.
It was so much fun. It was a different experience. Good. But I think sometimes we give ourselves so many excuses to not do this, to not do that. Mm-hmm. And instead, I looked at it as, well, this was a fun experience. I'll never forget it. Now, do I want to make it a steady diet of running in the snow? But too often, I think we give ourselves these excuses like, the sun isn't like totally shining, or it's too hot, or it's too cool. And the next thing you know, you're like, I can walk outside once a month because it's 72 degrees.
Yeah.
I make up all the excuses. If it's cold, if it's dark, if it's raining,
Yeah. Great. I love it. I love the idea, too, of resetting in spring, hitting the reset button and giving ourselves a reset on all. And setting boundaries being one of those opportunities. Go for it.
Start small. Don't pick all 30 of the tips and try to implement all of these. Pick 1 or 2 tips and then just really go for those 2. Then you'll be more successful.
Really? Because my conversation today is going to be, honey, Maria gave us 30 tips of what we're going to do, and we're going to start today with the digital detox.
It's a great way to fail, right? Well, start with the digital detox and leave it at that.
There
and
you
you'll
go.
be successful.
We'll call that a victory.
Right.
Maria, thank you.
And to Maria's point, thanks, Maria. We'll listen to you soon, right here at noon. To Maria's point about starting small, that's exactly what my therapist had said, too. He said, do not try to totally quit like all the social media all at once or whatever it is that's capturing your attention. Give that phone a nap, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, then see if you can work up to an hour. It's hard to do in this business because when an alert comes over, I want to make sure I'm keeping up with all the news of the day and making sure I'm returning text messages and answering phone calls from people who we might want to have on the show. It becomes tricky. But the more I've done it, the less guilty I feel about doing it. So it's working for me. It's a slow process, though.
Well, and think how often do we miss a phone call or we miss a text, and when we respond, the first words out of our mouth or the first text we send is, "Hey, sorry I missed this." You're like, you're 15 minutes late. That probably doesn't deserve a sorry.
Maria's up next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
If you're driving to work or you're driving the kids to a soccer game, we're your in-car companion.